Hello, my name is Dr. Milton Mills. I am a critical care and internal medicine physician, currently living in the Washington, D.C. area. I'm originally from Oakland, California, grew up and went to college and medical school in the San Francisco, Oakland Bay Area, and moved out to the Washington, D.C. area to complete my residency, and have been living out here ever since. I am a plant-based physician, and I've spent my life helping people understand the need to change our diet and lifestyle so that we can avoid the chronic diseases that tend to afflict people living in Western countries and cause us to suffer from chronic disease and sadly to die prematurely and to suffer from things like dementia and other debilitating illnesses. So my plant-based journey actually began in my teenage years. When I was 14, I became a Seventh-day Adventist. I joined the Adventist Church. The Seventh-day Adventist Church encourages, but does not require, its church members to become plant-based because that is God's original diet for us, as outlined in the book of Genesis. When God created Adam and Eve, he told them to be plant-based. In fact, he told them to be vegans. They were to be eating essentially a fruit-based diet. After sin entered the world, he did change their diet. In chapter 3, we see that he enlarged their diet to include foods that formerly had been reserved only for animals. The Bible refers to as plants of the field, which can be interpreted as your grains, legumes, green leafy vegetables, and root vegetables. So those were now included in our diet. While I understood that that was God's desire for us, I didn't think I could do it. The church does absolutely require that we adhere to the biblical prescriptions against eating unclean animals, such as scavengers and so forth. So I did cut out things like pork, shellfish, and those kinds of animal foods, but I did continue to eat hamburgers, chicken, fish, so forth. But about a year and a half after joining the church, when I was 16, I was struggling with some personal issues that I was finding it difficult to get past. And I was talking with God about it one night. He said to me very clearly, if you want a closer relationship with me, you need a clearer mind. And for that, you need a better diet. You have to stop eating meat. And I remember very clearly, I felt just this frisson of panic at that moment. Like, how can I do this? I don't think I can do it. And so I just said, God, if you want me to stop eating meat, you have to take away the desire for me to eat it. He did. And I stopped. That was a night in September of 1974. And I haven't eaten animal flesh since. Once I stopped eating meat, I very quickly began to feel the difference in my personal health. I had more energy. I required less sleep. I was in my mid-teens, and my acne cleared up, like really clear that, yeah, this is definitely better for me from a health standpoint. So I began to read everything I could find on the relationship between food and health, and everything that I was reading was consistent with what the Bible had actually said, that the more plant-based a population or person was, the healthier they became, and the longer they lived and the fewer diseases they had. I then began to try and help educate people on the importance of changing our diet to help reduce our risk for developing all of the diseases that tend to afflict people. I ultimately decided that I wanted to spend my life doing just that, educating people about the importance of changing their diet and lifestyle to help them live healthier lives and avoid heart disease, cancer, strokes, and so forth. That ultimately led me to decide to go to medical school so that I could have the best understanding of human health and physiology, but also to have the credentials that would allow people to respect what I was telling them when it came to changing their diet and lifestyle. I was fortunate to be accepted into Stanford University School of Medicine. And what was really special about that was there were opportunities to do a lot of research and also to do independent research, which allowed me to explore this whole issue of human design, human anatomy and physiology, as compared to that of meat-eating mammals, such as carnivores, versus plant-eating mammals, such as traditional herbivores. And again, it became very clear that human beings were anatomically and physiologically designed as committed plant eaters. When I finished residency, I started working internal medicine clinics, and something very interesting would happen. I would frequently have older African Americans who would come in to see me and tell me, "Doc, I'm having a problem with my irritable bowel is acting up, or my spastic colon is giving me trouble." And when I did a careful history with them, I would ask, "Well, can you tell me what the symptoms are?" And from what they described, it was pretty clear to me that they were describing the symptoms of lactose intolerance. And so I would have them do a trial. I'd ask them, "Okay, I want you to go home, have no dairy products whatsoever, no milk, no cheese, no ice cream, no yogurt for the next 2 weeks, and then come back and see me." And I would say in probably 8 to 9 out of 10 cases, so 80 to 90% of the time, the problem disappeared. And clearly, it wasn't that the person had an issue with spastic colon or irritable bowel. It was that they were intolerant of the lactose that was in dairy products, and they shouldn't, of course, have been eating them. And when I explained that to them, most of the people were very gratified and started to exclude dairy from their diet. A penultimate moment came with this one particular African-American woman who was in her 60s. She came back. She had done exactly what I told her to do. The problem had resolved. And I told her, "Well, you see, you're lactose intolerant." And she looked at me and she said, "Oh, I know that." And I then said to her, "Well, if you know you're lactose intolerant, why are you continuing to eat dairy products?" And she said, "Because the dietary guidelines say I have to. The government says that I have to eat these products if I want to remain healthy and have good bones." And it was at that point I became really angry, because I knew that the government knew that there really was no evidence that dairy products, number one, helped build strong bones or prevent osteoporosis or prevent hip fractures. And number two, the government also understood very well that African-American women were genetically protected from getting osteoporosis in the first place. Then went to see Dr. Neil Barnard, who was the head of the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, PCRM, and talked to him about doing a study to look at the racial bias and institutional racism that led to the continued recommendation of the consumption of dairy products, despite the fact that the government knew these products, I refuse to call them foods, were inappropriate for Americans of color. And Dr. Barnard immediately got on board with the project and got behind it and put the resources of PCRM behind it. And out of that effort came a 2-part paper that was published in 1999 in the National Medical Association's journal called Racial Bias in U.S. Food Policy. Parts 1 and Part 2. Part 1 dealing with the issue of lactose intolerance, and then Part 2 taking a broader approach, looking at the inappropriateness of the meat-heavy, dairy-heavy recommendations for, again, people of color, because of the fact that these recommendations tend to promote excess levels of disease and premature death in African Americans and other Americans of color. PCRM was invited to present our paper's findings at the North American Vegetarian Society's annual conference called Vegetarian Summerfest, which was held at the University of Pittsburgh every summer. Dr. Barnard asked me if I would go and represent PCRM, and I was happy to do so. Even though NAVS at the time was called the North American Vegetarian Society, it was actually a vegan organization. Vegetarian Summerfest was actually a entirely vegan event. And so I suddenly found myself immersed in an entirely vegan world. It's an amazing conference where they take over the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown, bring in their own chef's crew, prepare all the food. You can have every sort of permutation, iteration of vegan food that you can imagine: raw vegan, cooked vegan, oil-free, gluten-free, you name it, it's there. I really became much more educated about the cruelty that's involved in the production of eggs and dairy, and also the health consequences of consuming eggs, and some of the longer term problems associated with dairy in terms of its impact on women's health and pediatric problems. And it was at that point that I transitioned to eliminating those foods from my diet as well. Now, I want to say that I was never a big consumer of eggs or dairy, even before I went officially vegan, because number one, I was profoundly lactose intolerant. So I never drank milk, couldn't eat yogurt. Main dairy consumption would take the form of the occasional use of cheese. But again, that changed after my introduction to the Vegetarian Summerfest, and then again, most of my egg intake was in the form of what people would call invisible eggs, meaning it would be eggs that had been used to make certain prepared foods. But again, all of that changed at around the turn of the millennium. And so from that point forward, I've been essentially plant-based. And that's how my experience has evolved over the years.
Let's go help people customize and save with Liberty Mutual. Okay, who sat at my desk?
One of the things that is very clear to me is that if I had not been plant-based, I don't think I would have been able to make it through undergraduate school and possibly even med school, because I came from a poor area of Oakland, and my first 3 years in undergraduate school, I worked 40 hours a week and went to school full-time at night. And the first 2 years I did that riding the bus and public transportation, which means I wouldn't even get home till like after 12 o'clock at night, and have to be right back up in the morning at 6 a.m. in the morning to get the bus to work. And then once I actually decided I was going to go to medical school, I had to quit my full-time job, because the only way I could get my pre-med recs was to work in the daytime. So I started working in a frozen foods warehouse at night. So I was working 3/4 time. I would do 3 graveyard shifts overnight during the week, get off at about 6 or 7 in the morning, go home, shower, change, and then go straight to school so I could be in lecture. And there's no question in my mind I wouldn't have had the energy or the mental clarity to do that if I had not been plant-based at the time. Being plant-based not only changed my life, but it helped me become the person I am and the doctor that I am, and is without question the healthiest for all human beings. I've seen that also in my clinical practice. I've been able to get people off their diabetes medicines, get them off blood pressure medicines. I've met people who've been able to cure late-stage cancers, cure themselves of autoimmune diseases like lupus and others by going completely vegan and eliminating all animal foods. So the potential benefits from becoming plant-based are enormous and enormously powerful if we would simply eliminate these disease-causing animal foods from our diet that our bodies clearly are not designed to consume. The questions often comes up is, Why would it be important for other people to become plant-based? Isn't this a matter of personal choice? Well, it really goes beyond personal choice, because as a social species, everything that we do impacts not only other humans, but it also impacts the earth, and it impacts the other creatures on this earth. And so most immediately, choosing to eat another living creature means you have to kill that creature. You have to take its life. It's a harrowing decision. It's a decision most people don't think about, because they don't have to think about it, because they give that chore, that job of doing the killing to someone else. And I actually had the experience of going to a slaughterhouse and watching animals being forced into these killing pens and seeing the terror and despair on their faces as they struggled to escape, and their cries for help. It's a horrible thing to have to witness and to watch. These animals don't want to die. They don't want to die any more than you or I would want to die if somebody was going to come and kill us. The question is, why would we commit such a horrible act if it's not necessary? And the fact is, it's not necessary. We don't have to kill other animals to live and to be healthy. And in fact, all of the data shows that if we don't eat other animals, we are healthier. We will live longer. We have fewer diseases. We remain more functional throughout our lives, and we have a lower risk for dementia. So then the question is, why are we committing such a heinous and spiritually reprehensible crime by killing these other creatures when we don't have to and when we shouldn't be doing it? Moreover, when we choose to live that way and we create all of this disease in our body, that's when we expect other people to step in and pay for it. And people say, well, I have insurance. Yeah, but what is insurance? Insurance means that you've got a pool of people paying into your insurance company who are going to pay to take care of disease that you created when you're not able to pay for yourself. I mean, it would be different if people said, okay, well, I'm going to choose to eat this way, and when I have my heart attack, just put me out on the back porch and let me drop dead. Well, nobody says that. No, everybody wants to be taken off to the hospital. They want to get the coronary stents. They want to get the bypass operation, or they want to get chemotherapy, and the millions and millions of dollars spent to try and recover their health and save their life after they've thrown it away. Unnecessary lifestyle choices that could have prevented the diseases they've incurred. It's even more egregious for people who consider themselves believers in God and worshipers of our Creator. Because it is crystal clear that God tells us that He created us to be plant-based. He tells us in the book of Daniel, chapter 1, that eating a plant-based diet will make you healthier, will make you mentally more agile, and help our spiritual development. So then the question is, when the doctor comes in and he says, I'm sorry, Mr. Smith, but you've got colon cancer. Well, the first thing Mr. Smith says is, oh, Lord, why me? But the question is, if you've decided to ignore the advice that God gave you, if you decided to flout God's instructions to be plant-based because you wanted to eat the maimed, tortured, rotting body of an abused, murdered animal, when your body suffers the inevitable results of that kind of disobedience, shouldn't you instead ask, oh, Lord, why not me? Why didn't you allow me to suffer the consequences of my disobedience much sooner than this? Instead of saying, oh, Lord, why did you let me get breast cancer? It's like, oh, Lord, why did you let me go so long before I got the breast cancer? Because I did this by refusing to listen to the instructions you gave me. We often sit down at a meal and we say a blessing before we eat. But I sometimes wonder, can God bless some of the food we decide to eat? especially if he told us not to eat it. We really need to sit back and rethink what it is we are choosing to put in these bodies that we know and say that we believe are God's temples. Because if we truly believe they are the temple of God, should we be putting things into our bodies that defile that temple, that we know are going to create ill health? And if we are struggling with, as I was years ago, personal issues that we are having trouble getting past, maybe the problem isn't that God is not hearing us. Maybe the problem isn't that God is not trying to help us. Maybe the problem is God can't get through to us because our minds are so clouded with the filth and garbage that we're eating that the blood vessels are clogged up with grease and fat and toxins, that our neurons are not working well enough for the Holy Spirit to speak to us in a way that we can hear. If we really do want to facilitate the best relationship and communication with God, we have to adopt the diet that he tells us he designed us to eat that will help improve and support that relationship and that communication. And that is a plant-based diet built around healthy, whole plant foods.
Isn't it so frustrating to be able to express yourself in French and not be able to understand what the French say? I know I've been there myself when I learned English.
Working with people suffering from, a whole host of problems, from diabetes to heart disease, just the usual problems, high blood pressure, arthritis, you name it. I do encourage my patients to become plant-based because I know that it will help with those problems and that they will feel much better. I remember I met a gentleman who had been actually scheduled for a hip replacement because of severe arthritis in his hip. And he attended a lecture that I did. This is up in Rochester, New York, for a friend of mine who is a plant-based physician up there, Dr. Ted Barnett. And this gentleman decided, you know what, I'm going to try this. I'm going to go plant-based. And within 2 weeks, his pain had decreased, and to the point that he was able to move and to walk so freely that when he went back to see his doctor told him, you don't need this surgery right now. You don't need to have your hip replaced right now because your level of functioning has improved so greatly. What I have found is that for a lot of people, I don't talk to them about changing their diet for the rest of their life, because for a lot of people, that sounds like too high a mountain to climb. So what I suggest is that, look, let's try it for 12 weeks. If after 12 weeks, you don't feel any better, your lab results have not improved, and you're no better off than you are right now, then of course, go back to doing what you were doing before. But I know that within that 12-week period, this person is going to be feeling so much better, doing so much better. Their glucose, blood lipids, and other lab work will have improved so significantly that they won't want to go back to the way they used to live. They won't want to feel as sick and debilitated as they had been feeling before. One of the things that I think that people have to anticipate is that once you let people in your life know that you're changing your diet, everybody's going to become a nutrition expert. For instance, when I came home and told my father that I had decided I was going to stop eating meat, he tried to intimidate me out of my decision. He said, well, look, I'm not fixing anything different around here. So if you're going to eat differently, you're on your own. And looking back, I realized that, my father knew nothing about being plant-based. And from his perspective, he probably thought I was doing something that was unwise and unhealthy. And so his response was to try and, shock me out of it. Fortunately, he didn't try to tell me you can't do that. I guess he thought he would just sort of make it hard for me, and that eventually I would give up on what was, a foolish endeavor. I'm happy to say that didn't happen. Obviously stuck with my dietary choice. And again, I give God the credit for giving me the strength and the will to do that. But I think that, people will have to anticipate that the people that, some or even many of the people in their lives may not understand their dietary choices and will try to actively dissuade them from continuing with that choice. Other things that you challenges that I've run into is when I was a resident. As a resident, we were required to attend noontime lectures, and because we had to be at the lecture, we couldn't go get our own lunch. So the chief residents would have drug reps provide lunch for the residents. Well, when I would come to lunch, it was always crap. It was always meat. So I went and I told the chief residents, I said, look, I said, I don't eat this stuff. If you don't have the reps start to provide non-meat alternatives, I'm not coming to the lecture. And since the chief residents got brownie points on how many of the residents attended lecture, it behooved them to talk to the drug reps to have them provide non-meat alternatives. Well, then what would happen is that when the drug reps would provide the plant-based alternatives, I had to make sure I was at lecture, right when it started, because those were the first things that people would eat. And which was completely unfair, because I'm like, you guys can eat this, the rest of this trash, and I can't, but you're going to eat up anyway. So it's kind of a mixed blessing. One, I'm glad they're eating, the non-meat stuff, but I'm like, hey, leave something for me. You have to be assertive and not be intimidated by people's lack of understanding of your choices, and be willing to help them understand how they can help you adhere to your choice. So, as a resident, I felt, I have a right to expect you to help support my dietary choice because I'm a part of this program. When I finished residency and started attending medical conferences, when a drug company was launching a new drug and they wanted us to come to a conference to learn all about their new drug launch, they would send us these questionnaires to ask if we had any special needs. Well, I was very clear about my dietary needs. And I remember we had this really nice conference that was planned for Cancun. I mean, nice. And I went, and the opening night banquet, they had roast beef, they had roasted chicken, they had ham, they had a shrimp buffet. I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm like, where's the plant-based alternative? And so I called the coordinator over and I'm like, hey, I don't eat meat. What is there for people who are, plant-based? And she said, oh, well, we have salad or stir fry. And I said, ma'am, that's rabbit food. If I eat that stuff, I'm gonna be hungry in about an hour or two. I'm like, I need something to eat. And she's like, oh, well, okay, well, just tell me what you want and I'll have the kitchen to prepare it. I'm like, whoa. None of the other attendees had to come here with a menu in hand to tell you how to take care of them. I shouldn't either. This is a major hotel. They ought to know how to fix plant-based options. Talk to them and have them come up with something. I'm happy to say that she did exactly that. And for the rest of the conference, they had a great spread for the people who were vegetarian, vegan. But the thing that blew my mind was that after I had this conversation, probably 7 or 8 other attendees came up to me and said, oh, I'm so glad you said something. I was thinking the same thing, but I just didn't want to say anything. And see, that's why we suffer. There's an old expression that says a closed mouth doesn't get fed. And when we're afraid to speak up, we don't have our needs met. So we should not be afraid to be assertive without being rude or mean or confrontational, but by being direct, because we have a right to expect to be taken care of, to have our needs met. And what we're asking for is not exotic. It's not weird. Nobody has to go, to the South Seas to pluck some special plant that only grows on one island in the, some coral atoll out there. No, we're just asking for healthy, plant-based options that everybody by now should know how to prepare and to prepare well. And again, I'm not talking stir-frying salad. That is not going to cut it.
Warning: if you're over 40 and overweight, it is not only uncomfortable, it is downright dangerous to your health and it affects your happiness.
Do I have any regrets about being plant-based? The only regret I have is that I ever put dead, rotting, necrotic tissue in my body at all. If I could go back, I would be plant-based from the very beginning. In fact, I would have been plant-based from birth if I could have chosen. Kathy and I went to the same church, but I had started working in a free clinic in Alexandria, Virginia. This was in the days before the Affordable Care Act. And Kathy was disabled and unemployed, and so she got her medical care at this clinic. But she saw one of the other doctors in the clinic, not me. One Sabbath afternoon in church, she came to me and she said, Dr. Mills, I was wondering if I could start seeing you as my doctor in clinic. And, it's from a professional standpoint, it's always a little uncomfortable or dicey to be seen as taking one of your colleagues' patients. And I kind of said to her, well, what's the problem with you and Dr. So-and-so? Why is it that you want to leave his care? And she was saying, well, I just don't feel like he's really paying attention to my health needs, my problems. And so I said to her, well, listen, let me talk to him and I'll see, if I can help resolve this issue, thinking that maybe with me talking with him, I could get him to be a little more attentive to her. When I spoke with him about her issue, she was diabetic and her diabetes wasn't well controlled. His statement to me was, well, you don't want to try and get your diabetics too well controlled because then their blood sugars will drop. They'll end up in the emergency rooms and you'll end up being called in the middle of the night or over the weekend. It was a horrible, horrible attitude. And I realized that this man was never going to take good care of her. And so at that point, I didn't care whether or not he got pissed off if she decided to become a patient. And I told her, listen, I'll be happy to have you become my patient. Spoke with the clinic director and she did. They changed her over to my schedule. And Kathy, her primary problem was diabetes, but she also had hypertension, heart disease, all of the problems that are associated with diabetes. And at our first meeting, I sat down and I talked to her about the relationship between diet and diabetes. And my goal was to try and get her to become vegetarian. Kathy went vegan overnight. She cut out everything, meat, dairy, eggs, everything. And literally, her blood sugar started falling within days. Now, prior to this, Kathy had been a diabetic for 17 years. She had to quit work because the disease got so bad she couldn't work. Her blood sugars would average 200 to 300. She was taking insulin twice a day, plus oral anti-diabetes medications. She was on 3 different blood pressure medicines, several heart medications. She had blockages in her legs that were so bad that she couldn't walk a block without getting the severe cramps that would force her to have to sit down and not walk. And that was one of the reasons she had to stop working. Within days, I had to start taking her off, reducing the dosages of her diabetes medicines. Over the next 8 weeks, I took her off of one after another of her diabetes medicines until probably after a little over 2 months, she was off all of her diabetes medicines. She eventually came off of 2 out of the 3 of her blood pressure medicines. She lost something like 40 plus pounds without even trying. And the claudication and pain in her legs cleared up. And she was actually able to go back to work.
Tony Horton is 61 years old and in the best.
And she got her life back. There was another case. We had a Hispanic gentleman who was coming to the same clinic. He had, again, very bad diabetes that was not well controlled. But he was only Spanish speaking, and he had a little booklet in which he kept all of his blood sugars. And I mean, everything 3 times a day, he was recording these really high blood sugars. When he would come to clinic, we would sit down and we'd discuss cases after patients were seen, and people were saying, well, he's just not compliant. I was saying, well, this does not look like a non-compliant patient. I mean, this guy is doing everything we asked him to do. This book he's faithful in filling it out. He brings it in. And even though it's not good news, he's showing us what his sugars are. I'm like, the problem here is not compliance. The issue was that, as I said, he was Spanish speaking, and every time he came in, we didn't have an interpreter. So I'm like, okay, next time this man comes to clinic, we have to have a Spanish interpreter here so that we can understand what's going on. It turned out he's a truck driver, and he's eating at all these greasy spoon joints, and high-fat food interferes with the ability of insulin to work, and that's why his blood sugars were all over the place. So through the interpreter, I explained all this to him, talked to him about the importance of eating a more plant-based diet, eliminating, fried foods, greasy foods. And again, the next time he came to clinic, his sugars were so improved. It was just amazing. There have been, a lot of stories. One other time I was at a conference up in New York, and I was doing a presentation for the Mid-Hudson Vegan Society. And after my lecture was over, this young woman came up to me. She was probably in her mid to late 30s, young Caucasian lady, and she was in tears. And I asked her, what's going on? She said, I don't know what to do. She said, my husband 2 years ago was diagnosed with diabetes, and it's just not going well. She said, prior to this, he was a strong, self-actualized kind of do-it-yourself man. But ever since he's come down with the diabetes, it's causing more and more problems. And no matter what medications they try, we can't seem to get it under control. And he's starting to lose hope. And he's just not the person that he was. And so I talked to her, and I told her, if he'd be willing to try going plant-based for 12 weeks, I'm sure we could get this problem under control. And they did call me the next week. I talked to him a long time, and he said he was going to try it to see if it worked. And probably maybe a month and a half after that, I got this incredibly emotional email from her where she said, I'm in tears as I write this because things are so much better. My husband has improved so much. He's so much happier. He's getting back to the person he used to be. And, of course she was thanking me, but it really wasn't me. It was the diet change. So yeah. So the bottom line is that, there's just scores of stories like that, of people whose lives have been completely turned around by eliminating unhealthy foods and embracing, a plant-based diet. Every time I attend, I give a lecture somewhere, I have people come up to me, kids who will say, Dr. Mills, I stopped eating dairy and my asthma went away. I can breathe, I can exercise, I can go for a run and not have to use my inhaler. It's just story after story of the improvements in people's lives. So, as I said, there are too many stories to be even told.
What if I told you that your overwhelming cravings for all your favorite foods are not actually cravings at all?
Green leafy vegetables are powerhouses in terms of their health promoting ability. So I try to make sure that I'm getting some form of raw green leafy vegetable in my diet at least 3 times a week. I really like the spring mix that you get in the bag because it has several different kinds of dark green lettuces. I frequently will buy some arugula to mix in with that because I love arugula. I try to include cruciferous vegetables in my diet on a regular basis because, again, they're very potent in terms of their anti-cancer, anti-disease capabilities. If I had somebody who could prepare roasted Brussels sprouts for me, I would probably eat those 3 times a day. But I do it as often as I can. And I like to try to include legumes in my diet, a minimum of 3 to 4 times a week in some form or fashion. Legumes are beans, peas, lentils. And again, the greater the variety, the better. Because beans are, again, some of the most nutritious and potent plant foods that we can eat. Try to get some kind of fresh fruit on a regular basis. When I can, I do multi-berry fresh fruit smoothies a couple times a week. Otherwise, citrus fruits like grapefruits, or now that we're in the peach nectarine season, I try to include those. Just a variety of different plant foods. And I have to be honest, I love rice. So I end up eating a lot of rice, brown rice, wild rice, and so forth. Those are my personal choices. You want to get some good plant-based cookbooks so you can learn how to really prepare, good, nutritious, filling plant-based meals. So you can have some variety, so you're not eating the same thing every day, so you don't get bored. And again, you want to make sure that you are eating a diet that includes things like beans, legumes, root vegetables, green leafy vegetables, so that you're getting your calories and your nutrients. Educate yourself on the benefits so that you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. You can go to YouTube, put in nutritionfacts.org, and I'm telling you, science-based videos on every topic you can imagine will come up that will give you lots of good information. I have a website. It's Dr. Milton Mills, plantbasednation.com. Has a lot of good lectures on protein, anatomy and physiology, the microbiome, and other topics posted, papers, and nutritional sources. Dr. Milton Mills, plantbasednation.com. Kind of long, but yeah, that's it. Lots of good reference material there. PCRM.org has a lot of good links on their website for additional information and resources. And then there are scores and scores of really good books. Brenda Davis has she's a wonderful research dietitian who has some excellent books out on diabetes and how to defeat diabetes. Dr. Greger has a book called How Not to Die, which covers all of the science supporting plant-based diets for promoting health. He also has a book called How Not to Diet. There's just too many outstanding plant-based cookbooks to talk about, but one I will give an honorable mention to is called Flava, My Plate, Flava, My Plate, which is done by a very good friend of mine. It's a wonderful cookbook, but there's just, again, many resources out there that really make getting started in this journey super easy. I always tell people going plant-based is like having sex. If you didn't enjoy it, you weren't doing it right. there is no reason for any human being with access to good, nutritious plant foods to ever need to eat animal tissue. All of the nutrients that humans need to be healthy can be found in plant foods, with the exception of vitamin B12, which is only made by bacteria. So even B12 that's in animal foods came originally from bacteria. So all you need to do for your B12 is take a supplement. And with respect to D3, if we get enough sun exposure, we will make our own D3. And if not, we can take a supplement. But any D3 or so-called vitamin D that you find in animal foods was added to those animal foods to begin with. So instead of eating the animal foods, you can just take the D3 directly. So the bottom line is there is no reason whatsoever to eat animal foods and no need to. All of the proteins that are found in plant foods are complete proteins. So again, you don't need animal food for protein. You don't need it for anything. And in fact, the plant sources are much healthier and better for you. So cut out the animals and eat plants directly. You'll be better for it.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Family cannot be heard. If I could be heard, give me a Yahoo up in the chat. Dr. Milton Mills. I guess I can be heard. I'm all good, huh? Dr. Milton Mills. Y'all look him up. Brother been a practicing doctor for a very long time. 48 years, no flesh. As far as I ain't heard nothing about him being a practicing Israelite, huh, Nehemiah?
He ain't said nothing about it. But he said where he got his understanding started out the Bible.
Got out the Bible though, huh, Nehemiah?
Started from Genesis, Daniel 1, talking about it. You know.
Nazarenes ain't lost y'all mind, huh?
Boy, after 44, 45 years.
Hey, look, and then the brother went to his testimonies. It's like, man, look, diabetes, cancer, people with severe arthritis got to get hip replacements.
Almost about the materials.
You know what I mean? You know, somebody that went to one of his churches and he had to, you know, let him know, like, yeah, I'll be your doctor. But look, this was going on. Off that flesh, off that dairy, and guess what? You can live and live more abundantly. So that means that we not making this up on the mind.
It's in the scriptures.
Wow.
It's in the Clear Time homilies.
No way.
It's all over if you can see it.
If you can see it.
It's been there, bro. We have not edited, revised, authorized a revision of any book. Like some Hebrews have made, you know, Yahoo scriptures and other Bibles.
Right.
We ain't authorized a revealing, a revelation, nothing. We are sticking to what we always had in our hand with the addition to things that should have been in our hand. Right. And come to the same conclusion that this brother came up with 45 years ago.
No way.
Before most of the audience was even born.
No way.
Or the other part of the audience that was born hadn't considered the diet. Where we at?
Where we at now? Now speak about when he was saying that when you catch these diseases, what you really should be saying to the Most High God.
So instead of saying, Lord, why me? You should be like, Lord, why not sooner? Because the way you eating is the reason why you sick.
What you think about that water? That makes sense, don't it? He say, look, you got this manuscript right in your face. He quoted Daniel. We ain't went to Daniel in a minute. We're going to go to Hosea today and a few other spots, right? That will substantiate and verify everything that we've been saying. The ops act as if what we're reading is not in there, and they'll go even further to now. Well, it is in there. It just don't mean what y'all. It just don't mean what it's saying. Correct? So we can substantiate what we talking about in the Bible. Like I told some brothers last week, I bumped into a few of our beloved brothers here in the STL. I said, look, it ain't nothing but to have a conversation. It ain't nothing but to have a conversation. What's up? Both of them stood down. Oh, okay. But that let me know what it is. I can't force the convo on you. But look, but know this, it ain't nothing but to have a conversation. We ain't gonna do nothing but open up the Bible and get it done. When we go to everything else, like the Clementines and the Essene Gospels of Peace and the Gospel of the Nazarenes, the Nazarene Acts of the Apostles, that's to put the nail in the coffin on what we saying. But what we talking about can be found in the Bible. You see what I'm saying? Hey, first book, last book, and Nehemiah, guess what? Everywhere in between.
Oh.
Huh?
So the Bible is true. God changed not.
He changes not.
So what you have, that you have held your whole doctrine of diet to, is a Levitical Aaron priesthood, which you claim you ain't under no more.
Exactly.
How soon we run back to Aaron, we want to eat meat, though.
You heard my brother said, you heard our big brother, Mashiach said in that Gospel of the Nazarenes, we gonna read it today.
Oh,
he said against Moses and the Torah, I don't speak. I speak against those who corrupted his Torah. And anybody that run to Noah to talk about we can eat flesh is to justify the lust that they have. You ain't doing that. You ain't bringing that out to be righteous. Stop it. You stop at Genesis 9 for. Why you ain't go back to chapter 1? Why ain't go back to chapter 6 when the Most High told Noah keep them animals alive? You and them eat this while y'all on this boat.
And this is the covenant is with the animals as well.
Exactly. So like I said, bro, for anybody listening that got a problem with what we saying, look, it ain't nothing but a conversation to be had.
And why ain't nobody answer the challenge when that went
out? Huh?
Ain't nobody.
I called him to the mat 2 months ago, Warhead.
We had 0.
Everybody, St. Louis and abroad, whoever got a problem, Wolf, let's get it. I want to prove everything I'm talking about right now. Let's get it. We can go live, but if you camera shy, guess what? We can do it private.
And who answers back?
Nobody. Not now. No, look at my Keith Sweat voice. Nobody, baby. Ain't nobody answer the call. Also, that let me know that you know that I know you ain't talking about what you talking about. Look, how did this man arrive at the very same understanding that we arrive at? And don't study what we study.
And line up with the same thing.
So where we at now? And he's a doctor. Y'all was well, you know, so-and-so ain't no doctor. That man's a doctor right there.
And you go back 48 years.
48 years, no flesh. Plenty of testimonials. Plenty of testimonials. So y'all, when we speak, you know what I mean, to challenge our people to be better. That's all it's about. You know what I mean? We just challenge our people to be better. That's all it's about, man. Be better. Challenge you to be better and get better. You said you was how old?
4 years.
You was 4 years old. You 52 or there? That Hebrew 52 of them things, boy. But that man been off the flesh since you been what? 4. I wasn't even born yet. Nowhere near it. You know what I mean? So that salute. Salute. You know what I mean? And for anybody to go and try to pull something else out the scripture opposite of what we're saying, you only proving our point, y'all. It's conflicts. And with any conflict, you just choose a side. I choose life.
Man,
I choose life. You're not. That's not life throwing the carcasses of dead animals down your throat. That will never bring life.
Neurotic dead flesh.
Yeah, it's all abomination anyway. It's been dead 3 days alone. It's offered to idols anyway. It wasn't brought to the doorway of the tabernacle, and the blood wasn't put on the altar, nor was the fat burned. You understand? What you hunt and what you kill and what you catch is considered a peace offering. Usually eating that day. If it's a volunteer offering, the leftovers the second day. But if it make it to day 3, it's an abomination. Yeah, and that ain't talking about pork, shrimp, crab, and lobsters. That's talking about, it says lamb, sheep, goat, ox. All the lawful meat that, so you mean to tell me there are stipulations in the Torah that the lawful meat these niggas put down their mouth can still be abomination? Is that true? Absolutely it's true. Absolutely it's true. So who going by the Torah and who ain't going by the Torah? Oh, we love to quote Isaiah 66 and the swine and the abomination and the mouse. Oh, hold on. All dead flesh eaten past day 3. If that flesh been dead longer than 3 days, according to the Torah you read, that's abomination. And we ain't talking about pork, shrimp, crab, and lobsters. So guess what? You prophesying about your own destruction.
Not even know.
I think the Most High will woke us up. Bless. Thank you.
You got to be real. You got to be real with yourself, man. All right, you gotta be real with yourself. So all we doing is just, you know, come on and go with a few of these things. Let everybody get mad. It's all good. We ain't worried about none of that. You know, we love you indeed and truth. We have to pray the Most High have mercy on you and spare you from this impending judgment. Shout out to all the haters, jaw jackers, and naysayers. You know what I mean? But Father, forgive them. They don't even know what they're doing. Please don't lay it to their charge. If they knew they was making their body a graveyard, they'll pump the brakes. But you think, what hell?
Yeah, that's a good way of saying.
Yeah, they knew what they was doing. A graveyard of dead flesh. Yeah, man, that was a powerful video, though, Nehemiah.
Very much so.
Go ahead, speak to us, Hebrew.
No, just the fact that somebody, 4 days, we're just looking at the comment in the chat. You know, some of us was only 4 years old. 45 years ago. You know, me and you weren't even 10 years. 45 years ago. You're not 55 yet.
I was 4 years old.
That brother, he was 4.
Yeah, bro. So you look back at that time, bro, you be like, oh my God. And he actually used the same strategy I used when I'm at work. We had a conversation off camera before we went live about like when they have something at the job about what they have in an event. They come to me because I have overly expressed who I am and ask me, well, what is it that you need? And we'll have to cater for you. That's what he was doing. He was going to those residentials and those noon-based, what do you call it? Meetings or whatever. Yeah. And they would provide food. Like, I don't eat this.
Yeah. He's saying all that beef and stuff. He went to them.
And he says, crazy when they do order that food, people eat it up before he gets to it.
And I ain't this one.
They do. It happened at my job. So they actually literally bring me my portion. And then, of course, whatever they put on the table, they get you. Some inside of you know you ain't supposed to be on what you on. And I ain't gonna lie, I work with men and very few women, boy. In that bathroom with brothers that let them things go, you can smell in the brother's bowel movement that he eating a lot. You can't. I ain't being nasty or grotesque.
No, you actually can't.
You can't.
Yeah.
You tell he eating meat for sure.
Eating that flesh for sure. The flesh
I know all that can change the meat. Boy, I was somebody you didn't want to walk in the bathroom behind. I was eating awful.
So I thought I would
come in the bathroom one time because I couldn't smell my pot. And I said, you smell this? I'm in big turd. She's like,
you said big turd.
She had to get down to almost to the wall. She said, I could not smell
it. Did he say almost to the wall?
Not to be baptized, not with the turd.
She couldn't even smell it, bro.
It is a difference.
It's a major league difference.
In your urine, too.
Yeah.
Your urine knows how they smell it.
I had ordered YAH'KI detox.
Man, hey, shout out to the house of YAH'KI.
Hallelujah.
My brother just had a new baby.
That's right. That's right.
21st of this month.
That's right. Praise
God, Yahweh.
Blessings to his house, man. That brother heard I had a little ailment going on. 24 hours later, I'm fine. That brother took his time out of his business and his new son to make sure his wife dropped me off a healing package, man. I appreciate that, family.
Hallelujah.
Somebody to take time out and show you love and help business. So blessings to that brother house. But man, like YAH'KI put out a video earlier this week, bro. I had some brothers, reach back to me like I'm tripping. But the water you drink every day, I sent it out in the mass text. And if y'all not getting my text messages, I apologize. I'm working on it. T-Mobile and Metro PCS are not receiving my SMS messages. But I am trying to get it fixed. But I sent out a video. You go on YAH'KI Awakens on Instagram. Because he posts a lot of videos there because YouTube and Facebook be tripping.
Right.
And he did a video about hydration, saying we should juice our fruit more than we drink water because of the simple fact is that you get more hydration with your fruit.
What do you call it?
H3O2.
H3O2.
And even in basic chemistry, you got 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen, right? So that's not even a helix, or what you would call a star of David, right? You know, making 5-point stars or whatever like that, or helix or whatever. depending on who you're talking to and how they structure it, right? You're only dealing with 3 parts. If it's 2 and 1, it's 3, right? If you got the 3 and the 2, you got the 5. You see what I'm saying? You got actual structure. So basic mathematics with chemistry. 2 parts hydrogen, or which is greater? 3 parts hydrogen. Would be the 3.
Absolutely.
Oxygen. Would it be 1 part oxygen or 2 part oxygen?
2.
So H3O2
Yes.
is greater hydration
than water. H2O. Yes, it is. That's simple. If you know the difference between 3 and 2 and 2 and 1, yes, it is. And for any of y'all listening that's in opposition to what Young Gunner be talking on a medical and on a health basis, listen to me. You Negroes are nowhere near qualified to come up against him. That man has over 10,000 hours of study when it comes to botanicals and holistic medicine. That man has thousands of testimonials when it comes to healing. I'm talking about, look, and he always say Baruch Hashem Yahweh or Baruch Hashem Yahweh. He always give praise to the Most High, so we can go ahead and kill that as well. You understand? That man is look, anybody that has 10,000 hours in whatever they do y'all know they are considered a master? Bro, if you got 10,000 hours in, you consider a master. 10,000. Yes, this man got over 10,000 hours in of study. This man got thousands of healings when it comes to the botanicals and the holistics. I'm talking about major healings. At times we didn't tag team, you know what I mean, when it came down to getting rid of cancer, whatever, through the spirit and the prayers. Then, you know, we changed the diet up, and all praise to the Most High. We save a sister from getting her uterus removed or something like that. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, that anybody that's talking crazy, y'all not no healing ministry. So so stay in your lane. You know what I mean? If your lane, maybe your lane is your Torah portions or whatever. You know what I mean? Or maybe your lane. I'm just being real. Or maybe your lane is what day the Sabbath day is. Or maybe your lane is organizing feast day. Well, I mean, polygyny, whatever it may be. That's fine. That's your lane. You understand? Our lane is healing, and that's just what it is. So anybody that come against the Young Gunner or myself, Nehemiah, and all that, and we talking about healing and testimonials. Oh, we got receipts. We got receipts on the spiritual side and the holistic side.
Hold on. And financial.
Yeah.
YAH'KI pays tens and thousands of dollars for research to be done.
Yeah, labs and we in the labs.
Instruments, bro. Like
we're in the labs.
Bro, literally.
These Negroes ain't seen a petri dish, Nehemiah.
Bro.
Yeah, they gonna argue with this man about.
The only time they did Pyrex, they was trying to cook crack.
Like, how is you gonna argue with this man about? How you gonna argue with this man about whatever is, or the anatomy of the body, or it's not cells and not genes? You niggas don't even got a petri dish. You ain't studying none of this.
Let alone a high-power microscope or the centipede.
Like, so look, spare me all that madness about you don't agree with. You Googled fruit juice. You Googled fruit juice. Boy, if you don't go sit down somewhere,
fruit juice.
Somebody you Googling fruit juice.
That's not scholarship. Google fruit juice verse water.
Man, look, anyway, shout out to the Young Gunner. Abundant blessings to his house. You understand? My brother Nehemiah wasn't feeling well 24 hours ago. Prayers went up for him. You understand? By the time the herbs even got to him, he all good.
Herbs just got him.
You understand? So all I'm saying is, you dig, all praise to the Most High. It ain't no bragging on us because we always give praise to who credit is due. But when you done talking, look, work getting done when it comes down to the kingdom and healing. And trip off this, we give praise to the Most High every time, don't we? And we got receipts. Call me on it. We'll fill up your email with receipts. And look, we won't even do the holistics. We'll send you the receipts we got from spiritual healing. Where you at now? And then let alone when 3, 4, 5, 20, 30, 40, 50 of us come together, touch and agree to see something done. Don't it get done, Nehemiah?
Last text messages. Yes,
victory over COVID.
And everybody in here that I have numbers can yay to that.
Yeah.
Right now. that we send our prayers in the group, we get updates, things are happening.
Victory over COVID, with everybody running around getting jabs on. All praise to the Most High. The latest one was victory over Down syndrome. Joseph Evans.
Yes,
we sent that out. They was trying to tell him that baby's gonna have Down syndrome. He sent that to me, boy. I hurried up and called you, Nehemiah. I said the doctors don't even know how everything's back to normal. Baby's fine. That's after all us together touched and agreed and prayed over that. We all did that through the power of the Most High. So when it comes down to healing, look, I'm not over in your lane going like telling you, you know, you don't know what you're talking about if you're reading the Hebrew or the Torah. I ain't over in your lane, nigga, messing with you in your understanding of polygyny. I ain't over in your lane and you arguing about calendars and look, we ain't even in your lane. We were the Most High got us. You did, and for some reason, everybody got a problem with what we talking about, and we got results. Huh?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Can you do me a solid?
Go ahead.
It's one of your favorite sayings, right? Who don't have to yield to who? You know what I'm talking about?
Look, the man with the experience, the man or woman with the experience is not in bondage or is not at liberty to the man or woman with a theory. Meaning, if you go through the experience and you got the testimonials to back it up, the man that come along with the theory ain't hold no water to you.
I believe.
Like, how you gonna, in other words, like, look, one man is a polygynist, the other man don't know nothing about it. The other man ain't got one woman.
How you
gonna tell this man what he doing is wrong?
I mean,
that's not your lane, but
people trying to critique other men in their single marriages or polygynous marriages, and nigga, you ain't held down to one.
So you look, I'm saying it's not your lane. That's what I'm saying. It comes down to where the Most High got you at, and wherever you at, perfect. You understand? But if it ain't your lane, stay about that lane, because you gonna catch fire over here. Because we trail blazing, baby. What you talking about? All praises. All right. So all praise, glory, now shalom to you, beautiful brothers and sisters. Bless up. Love y'all indeed and true. Sometimes your brother turn up, though. I be having to let him know what it is. You did. Hey, look, now don't never think we done went soft or quiet. If I go quiet, I'm just loading up. That's it. That's it. I'm loading up. About to go to the block again, baby. What you talking about? But hey, shalom, love y'all, abundant blessings, peace, love, light, healing, and balance and blessings. You understand, to the flock of the Most High. We send forth prayers of healing, prayers of enlightenment, prayers of blessings to every last one of you. Even to our enemies, we send forth the spirit of peace into your heart. And look, we pray you find whatever you're looking for. All praise and glory now to the Most High. First scripture we're going to go to, y'all. We're going to share this Hosea chapter 2, verse 14. And look, if y'all see on there, that say the restoration of Israel, don't it? Now look at this. This is very key because now it's giving us what they call it. What they call it, Nehemiah? They try to argue with you. It's a word they use, start with a D. This gives us a dispensation.
Oh, dispensation. Oh my God.
Speak on it, Nehemiah.
So
speak on it, Nehemiah.
Brothers will sit there and say, well, man, he was talking to this kingdom and that kingdom at that time in this place. I say, listen, God does not change. When he told you, thou shalt have no other gods before me, that transcends dispensation. When he says, thou shalt not make it to thyself any graven images, that transcends dispensation. When he says, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, that transcends dispensation. So the time. Whatever he laid his finger to and wrote for you in law transcends time. His law is eternal.
Hallelujah.
So if he gave you a diet from its beginning, when he formed you out of the dust of the earth, out of nothingness, and made you, and he filled you with his ruach.
Come on,
and activated your avatar. You think he don't know what rocks in that avatar is fuel?
Right.
But then somebody come around who made a golden calf and never apologized, and then give you a whole rule book of what should and shouldn't be eaten after it was told that it wasn't to me, it was to Malaki. She only gave you the name. You ain't got to guess no more. And then he gave you many prophets afterward. And then his son, who you claim you follow after that. and told you I didn't require none of this.
Mm.
But then you get mad about the line, pins, and scribe. There's dispensation too.
That's
Well, because those men who said that was before Christ by hundreds of years, and the New Testament wasn't written. So when Christ was talking about that in the New Testament, he wasn't talking about Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and all that. And then with Paul,
don't get us started on old Paulus.
So hey, look,
hey, but
don't
look.
let nobody run you out the door of your eternal life. Because when you read the historical account of the Clementine homilies, and I even had to sit down with one brother, say, man, let's talk about this book and this book. I said, what about the Clementine homilies since you're bringing up books you want to talk about? Oh, no, I ain't talking about that one. Because you at least got to admit,
I know you ain't.
It's valid. You can't talk about that.
You ain't.
You ain't bringing on nothing.
I know you ain't. Now, we got a problem if this book that you even off your mouth is valid, and these other books you claim ain't valid, but lining up with the one you claim is valid off your own mouth. Where you at now? But before we even get there, we got scriptures we need to go ahead and address.
Right here.
That deal right here.
You got
we got a problem. We got a problem. They shot too quick, Nehemiah. I told them that 6 months
Bro,
ago.
I said that.
Y'all shot too quick.
Saying it. Y'all jumped off
Y'all shot too quick. Thought y'all had something. You dig? And ain't got nothing. Sit down somewhere. All right. Restoration of Israel, Nehemiah. What we got?
All right, Hosea chapter 2.
And this is prophecy, right? Go ahead.
Verse 14.
Bring it out, Nehemiah.
It's called the restoration of Israel.
Has this happened yet?
No.
So what we about to read is still in front of us, not behind us.
In front.
Oh, okay. Let's read.
Therefore, behold, I will allure her and bring her into the wilderness and speak comfortably unto her.
The her is Israel,
y'all.
There
you go.
The her is Israel.
Because everything to the Most High is feminine. The Most High is always, whether you're dealing with Yasha, Zion, Earth, everything is feminine. Nothing is more masculine than the Most High. So when you're dealing with the Most High in the Hebrew, and you see anything, wisdom, her, everything is under the Most High. So everybody know, and there's no other person he brought into the wilderness but Israel. And then what they say right there, the restoration of who?
Israel.
It's a her. Israel is her.
Israel considered a her. Even true about this. Even though Israel,
that's why you the bride.
Look at this. Even though Israel in the Bible was a man.
Yeah.
Jacob was a man, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it her.
Okay.
By nature, by default, because there is no power above the power. You know what I'm saying? You serve, that's the power you serve. And everything behind you gotta be feminine.
Now watch this, verse 15. What does it say?
And I would give her vineyards. Not her what? Not her farms and butcher shops. I would give her vineyards. Makes sense when somebody
from thence. That's right.
From thence and the valley of Achor, put that on me, for a door of hope, and shall sing there.
And she shall sing there. Go ahead.
As in the days of her youth, as in the days, watch this, when she came up out the land of Egypt.
Oh, we
keep going back to Egypt.
Oh, come on.
Keep going back to Egypt.
Now watch this. Go ahead. Verse 16. Now trip off this. Remember, this is something that's going to happen when, Nehemiah? In front of us.
In front of us.
Because the restoration of Israel ain't happened yet. This is in front of us, correct?
Correct.
Verse 16. Now he talking about bringing us into the wilderness. We going to sing there. You understand? We're going to be given vineyards from there.
Not butcher shops.
Not butcher shops. The valley of Achor, right? Now look at verse 16. Watch this.
And this even makes sense, bro, because we are husbandmen. We are farmers, bro. We grow crops. That's what we do. He even gave you an analogy in the New Testament. My father is the husbandman. I am the true what? Vine. And ye are the what? You the branches. Come on, man. That don't sound right if you a meat eater. I am the true bull. You are the bull horns, and you are my meat.
Exactly. Now remember, into the wilderness, vineyards, you're going to sing there. You understand? We're going to rejoice there. All that. Verse 16, what does it say?
And it shall be at that day, said YHWH'S.
Come on.
This is like, I just want, because we had this conversation earlier this week. When you ever sit here and try to figure out if the scribes have ever, you ain't been at the mercy of the scribes' pen, they took out Yod, Hey, Y, and replaced it with capital L, capital O, capital R. I'm just saying.
Over 6,800 times. Oh, that's easy work.
So I mean, they get mad when we tell them that.
Yeah. That's beyond easy. I mean, anybody that don't understand what Nehemiah just said is just on elementary level. That should say the Most High Yod, Hey, Wah, or Yahweh or Yahweh, correct?
Yes, exactly.
But a scribe wrote the Lord. So that means there was somewhat counsel held under some authority to remove the name of the Most High and replace it with the Lord. That's common sense. And I just want that's one example, and that's done over 6,800 times.
When that's done like that, that's a major change.
Yeah, that's a major change, absolutely. But look at this. What does it say?
That thou shalt call me Ishi,
meaning my husband.
My husband.
Go ahead.
And shall call me no more Baali.
Oh, Baali. Or my Lord, my master. Oh, you mean tell me the names of Baal is still in the mouths of Israel? Even when we're redeemed into the wilderness? And this is a time that ain't happened yet? Do you mean tell me Israel still got Baal on their mouth? Satan. Even up to the time of redemption? Is this what the hell is going on there?
Because I'm telling you, Israel think they right.
Everything we claim we doing everything right now. Kwam Yasha Allah, huh?
With a lamb chopping in their mouth.
Look at this. Now, what you mean calling? How is Israel calling the Most High Baal? Look what's going on. Verse 17.
For I will take away the names of Balaam out of her mouth. They shall no more remember by their name.
So that mean the names of the unholy pantheon of Canaan is still in the mouths of these Israelites.
By deed, actions, and words.
We got to be restored. That means the names of the pantheon gods of Canaan, the Baalim, is still in the mouth of these Israelites by name, by action, by deeds. Who you really been serving? Most I told you, it wasn't me you was sacrificing to. So what you been doing this whole time?
Bro, he gave names, bro.
And he gave names.
He gave names, bro. We can't knock it no more, bro. We can't keep going by there doing like this when we read. They got a handle it.
Yeah. Is that what it is? You niggas y'all niggas act like Canaanites. Been worshiping like Canaanites.
You know what?
This whole time.
That's what made it so easy in Numbers 25 for them to go join with them other nations
and
kick it with them.
It's the culture.
Because that's the culture you practice.
You was giving it. As Moses said, that wasn't to me. You was doing all that too. Yeah, and one of the names of them gods in the Hebrew tongue is Sakuf. Sukkot. The tabernacle.
Okay. That's the tabernacle you was holding up.
Oh man.
You see that trip I put up on Facebook? I put the picture of the tabernacle.
Yeah, I seen that. That was major.
And I say Christian and Hebrew trivia. Show you that picture.
Now watch this. Yep, verse 18.
And in that day,
in the day that you get restored, redeemed, go ahead.
Will I make a covenant for them with the beast of the field?
Now, what do the beast of the field and the fowls of the heaven and the creeping things of the ground got to do with the worship of the pantheon gods of Canaan in your mouth? What the hell been going on here? This is all talking about Israel being restored and the names of Baalim being destroyed out of your mouth. And if in that day he got to make a covenant, a marriage between you and the beast of the field, that means
and the fowls of the heaven.
Yeah, and the creeping thing on the ground. What covenant you in now? Whose covenant? Who covenant you in now if that's the Most High's covenant in that day and that ain't what's going on now? And it includes the animals. The ones on the ground, in the earth, and in the water. What covenant you under now then? That got to do with the pantheon gods of Canaan. that won't be destroyed till you get to the wilderness.
Oh, because you can't put it down. And a lot of y'all ain't passing under that rod, bro. The wilderness of old is the repeat of the wilderness of new. Everybody didn't make it to the promised land, did they?
Joe didn't.
That's all I'm saying.
Look at this.
That's deep.
Bring it out, Nehemiah.
He said, I will make a covenant.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the covenant he made back with Noah. Same covenant that we see that the predator laying with the prey. You know what I'm saying? Snake and dust. Bro, ain't no death in my holy hill. Death and all that is in the grave and in the lake of fire. Death in the grave is in the lake with the snake and all that followed and those demons that fell. So how is you performing sacrifices and still eating meat in the kingdom?
Whose covenant is you niggas under now?
That's all I'm saying, bro.
Whose covenant you niggas under now? If this covenant ain't even made yet, whose covenant is you under now?
It gotta be by default. Bali.
Oh my Lord. Oh man, this
by
is
default. By default.
Baal, huh?
By default.
Now is this now look and true about this and this covenant he gonna make, would this be considered the renewed covenant?
That's what they would be considered.
Oh wait.
So this renewed is one that was already
established.
And it had to be reinforced.
Yeah.
AKA the Jeremiah 30.
Yeah, and the Hebrews 8 and 8 and the Jeremiah 31. The new covenant and the laws of the Torah gonna be on your heart and in your mind.
And no man.
But so that with that same covenant, the names of Baalim got to be destroyed out of your mouth.
That means you will carry it all the way down. You carry it up to the door.
Oh wait.
But he gonna keep his word because his word said I will gather you. So he ain't gonna never fall short on his version of the word. But whether you make it through it, it's a whole nother story.
Oh wait. Man, he gonna be cut off. That's right, also real. Yeah, you better start getting it now.
I talked to Hebrew earlier today, man. He said, bro, hey, I'm thoroughly convinced.
Yeah.
I was a real man, me. I'm chopping up all the time, actually. He's like, man, only me and my mother and my son get it. Said, I wish my other family get it, but hey.
Hey, y'all, this thing is serious. Now, look, in that day, will I make a covenant for them, meaning the Israelites.
In that day future.
In that day future, for them with the beast of the field.
So injunction.
And with the fowls of heaven.
Injunction.
And with the creeping things of the ground.
Injunction.
And I, meaning the Most High is going to cause it to happen, will break the bow and the sword and the battle out of the earth. Those are your weapons of war, weapons of killing, correct, Nehemiah? Yes, the bow is the bow and arrow, correct?
Use that to hunt and kill.
The sword, we use that to hunt and kill as well, right? And the battle, the warfare out of the earth, and will make them man and animal. And I will make them to lie down safely.
No more death, bro. No more death.
What kingdom you talking about? You finna be chewing on some dead animal flesh.
What you think you wanted to the kingdom having a heathen make you a lamb chop?
This is the new covenant.
The restoration.
This is the renewed covenant. This is the restoration of Israel. Well, whose covenant you under now?
Bali.
Yeah. Y'all been worshiping Baal.
The whole time.
In name, action, and deed. And in food.
And if you watched last week, man, it's very deep when you see Christ in his temptation by the adversary. And when he heard Christ ask him out, he'd been tempting man since the Garden of Eden. And man usually always cater to his what? His greed.
Absolutely.
Can't nobody draw you unless you already been drawn.
Yeah, absolutely.
He catered to your lust. So when he came upon Hamashiach and offered him all the kingdoms and the glory thereof, and he heard that reply, man, he hurried up and got up out of there.
And he said he was going
to gotta go do some work.
False apostles that will have the name of Mashiach in their mouth, but will accomplish the will of a demon.
And he said, and that's why it makes sense when you go back and reread. He said, many gonna say in that day, Lord, Lord, Baal or Baal. I know you not. Depart from me.
You work of iniquity.
Oh, and what iniquity were you working? Eating, dead, and you're guilty of murder, 3 days, abomination, all that, bro. Not following what you perceive to be law. You ain't even true to what you believe.
Bro, all that flesh these men chewing on all these feast days, y'all, is flesh offered to idols, aka devils. Just call it for what it is.
And look, we admit here at Honor Humility we were wrong.
Yeah, now
look, we ain't too proud to tell you we was wrong. Bro.
All you gotta do is ask somebody that don't believe. Just ask.
They're gonna make up
what makes flesh, or what makes it flesh offered to idols, and see if they can give you a biblical answer according to the Torah.
And show it to you.
What makes it flesh offered to idols? You understand? Now ask us that and see if we can get you some understanding. We're gonna take you right to it.
Sure is.
I'll take you right to it.
Give you the name of the offering it is.
Exactly. Hosea 2:19. What does it say, Nehemiah?
And I will betroth thee unto me forever.
You know, those are marriage terms.
It's the marriage terms, brother.
All right. It's Most High
being
made or married in a covenant agreement to Israel. Go ahead.
Yeah. I will betroth thee unto me in righteousness.
Come on.
And in judgment.
Come on.
And in loving kindness.
And in what?
And in mercy.
And what? Mercy. Son, I want mercy and not sacrifice. Huh?
That's what the Son said.
Verse 20. Go ahead.
And I will even betroth thee unto me in faithfulness. And thou shalt know YHWH'S.
Come on. 21.
And it shall come to pass in that day, our heard said, the Most High, I will hear the heavens, and they shall hear the earth.
Come on.
And the earth shall hear the corn,
the flesh,
the
lamb,
the corn.
Go ahead.
And the wine. That's why he told you I won't drink no wine with you until the wind.
Right, until I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom.
Oh my God! Don't it start making sense?
This is it. This is.
Don't this start making sense?
Start making all the sense. And the yayan, the wine,
and the oil.
Go ahead.
And shall hear Jezreel. Israel.
Right now, look at what Jezreel means, so y'all can understand.
And listen, if you ever been out eating at certain restaurants, a lot of Italians, but place you eat, ain't nothing like you some good old nice cooked oven bread and some olive oil with some herbs in it. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, that's amazing. It's an appetizer. You just get to eat for free when you go eat.
Strong's H 3157. Yisrael. Yisrael. Second entry.
Am I lying, babe?
Yisrael. Yisrael.
Now look what Jezreel means, y'all. Jezreel means Jezreel equal the most high souls or plants. Because look, this middle part of the word in Hebrew is the word for seed. See if I can highlight it. Yep, right there. Show y'all a little Hebrew today. This word here that I'm highlighting, the three middle letters in the word, that's Yisrael. All right. Now, Israel is spelled Yod Shin Ra Aleph Lamed, or Rosh Aleph Lamed. It goes from right to left, right? This right here, you see what I got highlighted? That's the Zion, that's the Resh, and that's the Ayan. That word means seed. Seed, like what you plant in the ground. God shall sow seed.
Like what you carry seed.
Okay, seed, all right? Trip off this. These last two words mean power, the Almighty One, God. L, last two letters. That's L, all right? L. All right? That's what you heard some brothers say, Yashar, Allah. Is really, if they don't want to say L, they should be saying all, not Allah. There's no extra hey at the bottom of it. All right? So you got seed, right? Then you got God, or power, correct? Now this Yod, this letter right here in mid-earth is the Yod. All right? That as a prefix, that before any word, especially a verb, but before any word, including this noun called seed, This means he will. So on the front of it, it means he will plant, and the he is God at the end. So that's why roughly translated, it means God will plant or God will sow. All right. So he's calling Israel his bride, Jezreel, or Yisrael, in the essence of, because I planted you. I'm going to plant you and you're going to take root in my holy mountain. You understand? So Israel, this is another name for Israel. God's planting is what it means. Or Yahweh's planting. Or the planting of El. Make sense? He's saying he's going to sow or plant his people. You feel me? And establish us where we're supposed to be established at. That's what that means, broke down. You know what I mean? He will plant. It's something that he's going to do. That's like it's like Israel means he will be a prince of God.
That's why we're the chosen.
Yeah, but the Most High right here is saying, I'm going to plant my people. You know what I mean? It's just a little bit of mysteries in the Hebrew. It's amazing what you get when you just read it. You're like, dang, okay. Feel me? Because the middle letters mean actually seed. Again, these three middle letters right there. The Zayan, the Resh, and the Ayan mean seed. All right?
Seed.
It means seed. You know what I mean? What do you do with seeds? You plant it, don't you? Don't you plant it? All right. So he's saying that we are his seeds, his children.
God's seed.
All right? And that will be planted. We are his children or his seeds, and he's going to establish us.
And want us to have more seed children.
Absolutely. All right.
And carry his word out.
So he's straight calling us his planting. All right. His sowing. All right.
It's a great honor in too. That's a great honor in it.
To be planted by the Most High. Exactly. Exactly.
That's my treasure.
All right. Hosea 2:22. And the earth shall hear the corn and the wine and the oil, and they, the corn, wine, and oil, shall hear Jezreel. Okay. Go ahead.
And I will sow her unto me in the earth, and I will have mercy upon her that had not obtained mercy.
Look at that.
And we have it when we at throughout. And I will say to them which were not my people, thou art my people. And they shall say, thou art my Elohim.
Y'all hear that? So that right there is about the restoration of Israel, about the covenant he's going to make with us called the renewed covenant. But how many of us knew that that covenant has to do also with the animals of the earth? See, a lot of people didn't understand that. You just so caught up in, oh yeah, we're going to be under the new covenant, or we under the new covenant. Well, brother, that covenant also got to do with the animals of the earth. They going to lie down safely. Can we read that again one more time, Nehemiah 2:18?
And in that day, will I make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field.
You hear that, whatever?
With the beasts of the field.
I will make a covenant for them, us, with the beasts of the field. In that day. All right, go ahead. What else you say?
And with fowls of heaven.
With the birds of the sky. Go ahead.
And with the creeping things of the ground.
And everything else that's on the ground. Go ahead.
And I will break the bow.
Come on.
And the sword.
Come on.
And the bow.
Come on.
Out of the earth.
Come on.
And I will make them to lie down. Safe.
You get that, whatever?
Yes, sir.
So hold on. Well, if he's breaking the bow and the sword and the warfare out of the earth, well, those are your weapons you use to kill, to hunt. So they will lie down safely. The new covenant also has to do with the safety of all the Most High's creation, including the animals. Make sense?
Yeah.
Do it make sense, brother? I was about to make sure you with us. Do it make sense, bro?
That makes sense.
Hallelujah. All praise.
So again, I just want to bring this out to our people that the animal was owned by for it on record was made before man.
Absolutely.
You was given charge over God. The purpose of man, his divine purpose, is to have dominion over God's creation, which is the animal. He didn't bring the animal up to you to be named for you to chew on it while you name him.
Right. Absolutely.
That's a powerful place to be last, and then he held you as first.
Right.
You catch what I'm saying?
Absolutely, brother.
Then even with the animals, well, God didn't make no covenant with no animal. Well, how did them get on the ark?
Let's go there. We're going to the next. I'm glad you said that.
How did that happen?
Hold on. Let's go to the next. I'm glad you said that. Because Nick Rose skipped this.
The covenant ends with the animals.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Let's go.
So how did you take God's covenant with the animals and think they became food for you?
Let's get it.
I know, like Christ told you, the lust of your belly.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm doing my thing.
Just
thank you.
Put them a little bit in the bowl. Save it for fresh.
But you know I'm gonna get down though. All right, so we're going to Genesis 6 and 17 next. Hallelujah. If y'all get some understanding, give us a Yahoo up in the chat. The new covenant also has to do with the safety and the preservation and the life of the animals, which are the Most High's creation.
I'm steady taking.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Steady keeping notes.
All praise and glory now to the Most High. Y'all know how we do. All right, so we're gonna go to Genesis 6. All right, verse 17, because a character that went to school with me was on one of my posts earlier this week. You know, and they always run, well, what about Noah in Genesis 9? You understand? And you're not even realizing the conflicts and the contradictions in the stories of Noah from Genesis 6 all the way up to Genesis 9. I could point out plenty of conflicts. You understand? Plenty of contradictions. But anytime a Negro run to Noah to justify chewing on flesh, is not for righteousness. It's not for righteousness. It's because they're lusting for that animal flesh. You know what I mean? In essence, that blood, that demon that's up in them. That's what it is. Because if it was really about righteousness, guess what you go to? You go before Genesis 9. You go to Genesis 1. You go here to Genesis 6. You see what I'm saying?
Now watch 1 through 8. You go through 1 through 8.
All right. Let's get this. Genesis 6. Start at 17 for me, Nehemiah.
And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of water upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under the heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die.
So when the Most High intended the judgment is what it is. All right, now we can get into deeper writings to show you what was really going on. It'll blow your mind.
But
all right, this is where man has learned to start chewing on flesh yet.
Look,
go ahead.
But you can also hit them. I'm pretty sure you already gonna go there. That Ecclesiastes 3.
Yeah, 19. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Just showing that you don't have preeminence over beasts.
Right.
You carry the same soul and breath of life that the beast carry.
Yeah.
The only reason why you think you're chewing the beast because you've been hearing, you be thinking that you is in the higher food chain. That mindset ain't even us. If Christ thought about the food chain, he wouldn't worry about overturning the tables and freeing the animals.
We serious business, ain't it, Nehemiah? I watch this, verse 18. What it say?
But with thee will I establish my covenant.
So he's back on covenant, right? Right? But we just read in Hosea 2 and 18 about this covenant with Israel being regathered, and it has to do with what? That safety and the preservation of the animals as well, correct?
Of all flesh.
Of all, correct? Now, watch this. Watch this. Now we talking about covenant again. Go ahead, Nehemiah.
Please pay close attention. And thou shalt come into the ark. Now, is it just Noah or is it Noah and
let's keep reading. Go ahead.
Thou and thy son and thy wife.
Come on.
And thy son's wife.
Come on.
With thee.
Verse 19. Watch this.
Here we go. And every living thing of all flesh.
That did when you said the word and. That word and means what?
Conjunction.
Conjunction meaning
along
with what I already said. Guess what else is coming?
You and these animals.
And of every living thing of all flesh.
And look, that's just what he said.
Every living thing of all flesh. Remember that. Because trip off the and he about to give you numbers behind it. All right. Now we only got to get no further than the next chapter to see those numbers switch up. Something get introduced called clean flesh and unclean flesh. Every living thing of all flesh. What else you say, Nehemiah?
Two of every sort shall bring into the ark.
Shall you bring into the ark of all living flesh. It don't say nothing about no clean flesh. It don't say nothing about no unclean flesh. Two of all and every sort shall you bring into the ark. If y'all see that, give me a 7 up in the chat. We ain't trying to lose nobody.
This makes a difference.
Because when you get to chapter 7, all of a sudden you got 7 of these and only 2 of these. That ain't what was going on in chapter 6.
So right there, you had a conflict.
We got conflict here. You can try to play all day long like, no, that ain't no conflict. Your mind just thrown off. That right there says 2 of everything. Every sort of animal come to the ark.
May I add?
Absolutely, brother.
He said everything that came out that has breath, everything that flies, and everything that creeps. He covered insects, birds, and animals. And I'm just saying, it's just 2 verses up. It's just 2 verses up. What's in the sea ain't gonna drown by water.
So he ain't worried about the sea. He just worried about everything that breathes.
Everything that's on the ark.
Yeah.
Everything that made on the ark.
That was on the land.
Yeah. And in the earth.
And in the earth.
In the earth.
Because in the water's already in the water.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Go up 2 verses. Not nothing bad, but just for extra clarity, because we want our people to be totally on board with what we really saying.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go back up to 17. Right? I will bring a flood, right, upon the earth to destroy all flesh, right? This is on the earth, not in the earth, or under the earth. This is upon the earth to destroy all flesh, whether it's breathe,
wherein is the breath of life
from under heaven. Everything that is in the earth shall die.
Right.
There you go.
Okay.
And watch how he gets very specific. He gets very specific. We just wait until the screen catch up.
Verse 18. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you.
That's 8 souls.
19. And of every living thing, and of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shall you bring into the ark, to keep them alive with you.
Not to bring them on the boat to eat them.
They shall be male and female. So if you understand that the animals were brought upon this ark to be kept alive,
not eat,
not to be slaughtered. Give me an 8 up in the chat. We ain't trying to lose nobody because we ain't hiding nothing. We ain't hiding nothing. That say all of it in the air and on the ground, and you're only bringing 2 of every kind, male and female.
So listen, so it can continue after the flood.
That they may be kept alive.
That means no one is cooked, no flesh is eaten. The predator is not eating the prey.
And look, this is and this is the covenant, right? Then he said, I'm about to make a covenant with you and them of every living thing.
That's a promise.
Yes, but what I'm trying to get people to see is what we read in Hosea, the 2nd chapter, is a direct reflection of what we read in Genesis 6.
A repeat.
It's the same exact thing. You see that? I just want to make sure everybody see it. We don't want to move too fast. We don't want to sound too scientific. We don't want to sound like we're using 2 big words or nothing. But right here, the covenant is between man and the animals, correct? And the covenant is that they are man and animals to be kept alive. Those that are gathered in this ark. Those that are to be restored. Like it was Israel in Hosea, the 2nd chapter, correct? Restored, to be kept alive. Well, guess what? That covenant is with man and animals.
And it's called the restoration of Israel, but it's with man and animals.
Make sense? I just wanted to make sense. If it don't, let me know.
Are you slaughter alike? Or you want to kill an animal alike?
Part of the covenant is that the animals are to be kept alive.
Ooh, right there. Right there. We done.
That's
all. Thank y'all for sitting with us this Thursday.
You know what I mean?
We'll see you tomorrow. We'll be live again. Come back as we continue with part 41.
You know what I mean? Now watch this. to be kept alive with you, they shall be male and female. Now watch this. Verse 20.
Here we go. Of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind, after every creeping thing of the earth after his kind. 2 of every sort shall come unto thee to keep them alive. Good night. Yes, the roaches got on there with the cockroaches and their lives.
Good night, brother.
Crickets.
2 of every kind. You only get this misnomer of 7 clean and 2 unclean. You understand? When you get to the next chapter, we'll show we got what? Conflict. Look, we got 2 different sources writing these stories.
You're going to lose them again without.
It's just what it is. Obviously, can't be the same one unless you tell me he got schizophrenia. Unless you tell me he's bipolar. Who right here is 2 of every kind to keep alive.
Nah, it's 2 and 7.
Watch this. 21.
And take thou unto thee of all food.
Here we go now. Hold on, because you got 2 of every kind. All your ox and your lambs on there too, ain't it? All right, so what Noah and them was eating while they what Noah was eating?
Could be the animals they were told to keep alive.
And take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, and you shall gather it to you, and it shall be for food for you and for them.
Oh my God.
What Noah was commanded to eat is what the animals ate. What you mean?
And it wasn't each other, because they was told to be kept alive. So there's only one left food on the earth, but that food will be what came from Genesis 1:29.
That's it, brother. If you ain't got nothing else, you gonna eat on.
And for those who hated on my brother YAH'KI again, and YAH'KI say, listen, that's why this type of study and work that he do make him actually draw more closer to your old AYA. You know what I'm saying? I'm quoting my brother. He said, because when you break down in this video about you should juice your fruit, it comes out to H3O2. I know we talked about this earlier, but this is why. It was listen, in the time of Noah, had it been raining normally? How many years? So, right? So you're talking about years of him building this ark, and no rain is touching the earth. So ain't nobody drinking H2O like that. Where are they getting their hydration from? It would have to be all the foods that were eaten by the animals and man, which is only one food that was told by the time of Genesis 6. And that would only be what came from Genesis 1.
Yeah, man, the fruits.
That's where your hydration.
The fruits and the grains of the earth is what they were eating on.
That's it.
Let's just go ahead and bring it all the way home. You did. We ain't got to do no guesswork with it. Animals eat Genesis 1:30. Man eat Genesis 1:29. We talking about fruits and vegetation. That's what they was eating.
They weren't eating each other.
It can't be each other because the animals were told to be left or kept alive. Okay? 6:22. Thus did Noah according to all that the Most High commanded him, so did he.
So what? Nobody get no lamb chops on the boat. No steaks.
None of that. Steak and potatoes, none of that. Now, trip off this. I know it's kind of hard for people to understand, but look, if you just keep in your mind, the Most High never changes.
That's it.
If you keep it, so that's how Nazarenes look at the scriptures. Whatever we read that goes against the Most High's character, meaning he deviates and changes, you know what I mean? That's called into question. We can't deal with that. You understand? So y'all, we ain't acting like you're not reading that so many thousands of lambs got slaughtered when Solomon dedicated the temple. You reading that? We ain't acting like you ain't reading Exodus 12 and Passover and lambs were slaughtered and blood was put over the post. You reading that. But guess what else you read? Who told you to tread my courts with this? I delight not in the blood of lambs, bulls, and goats. Right? You got blood in your hands. When you offer your prayers, I'm not going to hear you. I didn't speak nor command your fathers in the day you left Egypt concerning burnt offerings and sacrifices.
Fleshy.
You don't require sacrifice, else I would give it. That's what I'm saying. Like, we ain't acting like y'all not reading what you're reading. Yeah,
Know what you mean.
It's in there. You understand? But you also reading prophets and even the Messiah who had a very big issue with what was going on in that temple, the slaughtering of animals and the chewing of that flesh. That's just a fact. You know what I mean?
Can we say what we gonna say?
What's that?
He said, ain't none of y'all heard his voice.
Hey, so if Mashiach say ain't none of y'all heard his voice, then guess what? Everything you've been doing need to be called into question. If you ain't getting it from him and who he gave it to, everything that the Israelite nation has been doing for the past millenniums need to be called into question. Because Messiah said, ain't none of y'all heard my Father's voice.
So this whole thing need to be broke down.
So whose voice you been hearing? And whose voice you been following?
And we just read in Hosea, and we got the other prophets we've been going through. This is a little, I don't say new information, but bringing out information for you to see it again. Hopefully with more clarity. With the meat out your
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So y'all, anything that you read and that calls the question, like F. Jones asking about Noah sacrificing the animal, yeah, that's in Genesis 8. Look, we ain't gonna act like you're not reading that. You understand?
That goes against what God just told.
Yeah, but what we saying is there's conflict in the scriptures. God just told them keep them animals alive, and then turn right around Genesis 8 and do what? Slaughter an animal and sacrifice it. Turn right back in Genesis 9 and say, well, look, of every creeping thing you can eat on earth. You know what I mean? Is that consistent with what we received in the beginning? Is that consistent with what Revelation 22 says? The tree of life gonna grow 12 manners of fruit every month. And the trees and the leaves of the trees is for the healing of the nation. Is that consistent with Hosea 2, 16 through 23 that we just read? Is that consistent with Isaiah 11, 1 through 9? Is it consistent with all the prophecies and all that when it comes down to what it's going to be like in the kingdom? And the answer is no. It ain't even consistent. So it got to be called into question. You feel me? There's conflicts in the scriptures. All you can do is choose what side you on. I choose life. You understand? That means the preservation of the life of man and animals. I just choose life. You know, that may not sit well with you. You dig? But I'm not gonna act like you're not reading what you're reading. Oh, you are.
I understand.
You know what I mean? But guess what? The flip side ain't honest with us. They want to act like we ain't reading what we just read or whatever. Because trip out this. We just read 2 of every kind of animal, right? Every kind to be kept alive, correct? All right, we can go right to the next chapter. I just want to show y'all something. All right, because we got Genesis 6 right here and 19 that says, of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shall you bring into the ark to keep them alive with you. They shall be male and female. Verse 20, of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind, 2 of every sort shall come unto you to keep them alive. The number is 2, male and female, correct?
Male and female.
Of every kind of animal.
Every kind.
Whether it's on the earth or whether it's in the earth. Am I dyslexic? Am I not reading it? Are y'all reading that?
I have read.
Okay, now let me show you how quick the game switch up.
Now, while Maddie doing the flip side, this also goes back to the super agenda they got on the table now about this LGBTQ, MX, YZ, whatever the hell they got going on. He preserved male and female. Even Christ spoke about it in 19. Listen, what my Father put together that no man put asunder. He made him male and female. Even the animals in that nature. So there's no way you can get. He made boy animal for boy animal, girl animal for girl animal.
Exactly.
To reproduce life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just ain't even on topic of how perfect his word is.
No way.
It's in all his creation. That same way.
Hey, yeah, line of y'all. Yeah, we gonna read that Jubilees. You right, that Jubilees 6 is a bomb. Now remember, 2 of every kind, right? Of everything on the ground and everything in the earth, correct? Right. Keep them alive, right? And what they ate is what man was eating. Fruits and vegetation, correct? Right. All right, look at this. Genesis 7:1. Right. And the Most High said to Noah, come you and all your house to the ark, for you have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Verse 2. Of every clean beast you shall take to you by sevens, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female. Now that's directly conflicting what we just read, Genesis 6, 19 and 20. Because he said of every animal, whether it's in the earth or on the ground, is by twos. Correct? Ain't that what it said? All right, we get to Genesis 7 and 2. Now we got clean and unclean beasts. Clean by 7, beasts by 2. Unclean by 2. Is that harmonizing or conflicting? Whatever.
That's conflicting.
That's conflicting. That's not the same thing. It's not. I mean, I know that's hard for a lot of people to swallow. Yeah. Man, y'all talking about the Bible. It do got conflicts in it, bro. The Bible tell you it got conflicts in it. Messiah told them, you error not knowing the scriptures, meaning the true meanings of them. How was that? These are scholars. These are scribes. And he told them they didn't even know the scriptures. You see that? Why would the Messiah have a problem with the men who were in charge with writing down the histories and the laws? Why would they be his enemies if the work that was producing was flawless? Because he was coming with a total different understanding than the scribes. Huh? He taught the Torah different, and he was the only one anointed to teach it. So if you ain't getting your understanding from him or who he gave it to, the 12 disciples on that, bro, you wasting your time. All right? So that's different. It go from 2 of every kind in the earth and on the ground, and now we got a clean beast and unclean beast. Clean 7s, unclean by 2. All right? If y'all see that, give me a 5 up in the chat. We ain't trying to lose nobody. All right?
Shout out to YAH'KI live right now talking about this.
It's not the same. It's not the same. All right? Now, if you jump on down, watch this.
It's a beautiful thing, bro.
Hallelujah. That's right.
Truly beautiful and edifying, bro.
Now watch this. Now we're going to jump down to Genesis 7, 14 through 16. Now watch this, Nehemiah. Trip off this. It switch up all throughout. Like, which one? Is it 2 of everything? Or is it 7 clean and 2 of unclean? Now, in the same chapter, look at this. Matter of fact, if I go back to 13, that's when he talked about, okay, look, same day. We still talking about the day they entered the ark. Whether we use in Genesis 6, 19, and 20.
So someone trying to say, well, 100 years passed.
No, we thought in the same day. Look at this, verse 13 finna come up. In the same day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark. So we talking about the same day. Let it go back up. Shit, I ain't moving on your TV right here. I'm moving. Oh, boy, yeah. Yeah, it's 13. It's showing 13 on here. Now look at this, y'all. This in the same day. All right. So in the same day, this is talking about the day that they entered the ark. All right. Same thing in Genesis 6, 19 and 20. This is the same time period. In the same day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and of every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh. Hold on. It go from 2 and 2 to 7 clean, 2 unclean, till now we right back to 2 and 2. You see what I'm saying? No, what you got is different scribes penning out or writing out what happened in the beginning. And no, they all don't agree. They all don't agree. You know what I mean? And many people understood that, man, when they were studying the Bible over the years. Like, no, it's not saying the same thing. You know what I mean? It really ain't that hard to understand how people are making it hard. All right? It's not that hard to understand. You just got to be real with yourself. 2 and 2 is not the same 2 and 2 is not the same as 7 and 2. You understand? And he's saying of every sort. And they went into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. And they went in, male and female of all flesh, as the Most High had commanded him. And the Most High shut him in. You see that? You see that, big bro? And they went in, male and female of all flesh, as the Most High had commanded him, and the Most High shut him in. You see that? 2 and 2, according to Genesis 6, 19 through 20. 2 and 2, according to Genesis 7, 13 through 16. But 7 and 2, according to Genesis 7 and 2. How ironic. 7 and 2, according to Genesis chapter 7, verse 2. Same numbers line up, ain't that? That's kind of crazy, ain't it? No way. All right. So we seeing that the covenant, if you're seeing that the new covenant is with man and the animals of the earth, or of the fowls of the earth, to keep them alive. It is a covenant of peace. It's not a covenant of murder. It's not. It's not. And we compared the restoration of Israel in Hosea, the 2nd chapter, verses 14 through 23, right? Ran over to Genesis 6, where we go from 16 on down to the end of the chapter. And we showed that the covenant is what? With man and animals, to keep them alive. And even on the ark, guess what? Man and animals, or Noah and his family, ate the same thing the animals would eat. And it wasn't each other. Because they was told, he was commanded to keep them alive.
So you got to make it to the other side.
Yeah.
So you can reproduce and repopulate.
So it makes sense, don't it? See that? One more thing and we're going to close out. All right? I have some more thing. We'll get deep into it tomorrow. A little bit even deeper. All right? Now watch this. Watch this. I want to show y'all something. We can really get it in, you dig? But, you know, we want to come on and, you know, come on and chop it up with the fam a little bit. All right? Now this right here, you know, I know some of you, we've been in the Bible the whole time outside the interview we showed, right? All right, next we're gonna go to the Gospel of the Holy 12, though. I do want to go here. You know, some of y'all don't like it. It's all good. We still love y'all. But we just gonna bring another witness onto what we already talking about. And we at least allowed to do that, Nehemiah?
We are.
All right, we've been unless you got a problem with Hosea, the 2nd chapter, Genesis, the 6th chapter, Genesis, the 7th chapter. All right, now we about to bring, guess what we about to bring up now? A witness that verifies what we talking about. All right. All right. All right, now let's get this in right here. Yeah, man, you know how it is, man. Technology, baby. All right, entire screen. All right. Now let's show this. I want to show y'all something real quick. Please forgive me for the hold up. All right. This right here is chapter 50 in the Gospel of the Holy 12. You got it. You know, you got it. If not, it's all good. Love you anyway. It's chapter 51. The truth make it free. All right. The truth make it free. Mm. Mm.
Funny person, I am the way, the truth, and the life. I mean, somebody wasn't living in the truth or the way or heading to a life.
All right, so we in chapter 51. We're gonna start at verse 12. Speak on it, Nehemiah. What you saying?
I'm saying we always say the truth will set you free.
Right.
We're saying that Messiah is the truth.
Right.
But if he tells you, I'm the truth, the way, and the life, and can no man come to the Father except through me. Mm-hmm. That means what you had and what you thought is not the truth.
Oh, man.
It's not the way.
I know.
And it definitely wasn't the life, because he didn't have to go set the captives
free. Why
he had to set them free? They was living according to Torah. And Torah only. But he has mercy. Did he say that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even in the restoration, he has mercy.
Absolutely.
Now, again, I would not frustrate the mercy of Christ or his Father. You know what I'm saying? But it's no brainer. It should be as easy for y'all who claim that y'all was eating pork and seafood to drop all that when you came into the truth. When you come into the deeper truth, it should be easy for you to drop it again. Just that simple. What is, you actually never let go of flesh. That's the problem. And what you have so strong with the flesh is what's going to take you out of your flesh.
Yeah, it's a real thing. This I do want to achieve. That's what I'm saying. You inspire me to do that, but I ain't gonna go that hard tonight. I think they got the gist of it. I got some boy. I better leave me alone tonight. I got some bombs to drop. We gonna do some soft kills tonight. We'll get to it tomorrow. We ain't trying to hold you up. All right. Let's start at verse 12 if you can, bro. Verse 12, this Gospel of the Holy 12, chapter 51. All right. And this backs up everything that we've been saying. All right. The Messiah and his disciples taught opposite of what was being taught in his day. All they had was the Torah, y'all. Now, trip off this. They didn't have the New Testament. You got the New Testament is a product that was put together under Roman authority 300 years after the death of the Messiah. That don't mean there ain't good stuff in it. That don't mean you can't glean from it. But they didn't have the New Testament. So that means, y'all, what they had was the established Torah, or what we call the Tanakh. All right? And if he was teaching exactly what everybody else was teaching, what they murder him for? He must have been teaching something. His understanding and teaching must have been different than what the received truth was of his day. You see what I'm saying? What he was teaching was opposite of what the received truth of the Israelite nation was then. Why you think he's a rock of stumbling and a stone of offense? Y'all, if he was here right now, it'd be the same thing. Many Israelites would be offended. He come around and tell you, look, y'all hate all your feast days and Kwam Yashar Allahs. None of it. I ain't hearing none of it. When you pray, I ain't gonna accept it. You don't know somebody show up today straight tell you to your face, you ain't never seen my father nor heard his voice. Ooh. Kick in your little so-called Hebrew summit door. Kick the door in. Ooh. Who is y'all praying to? It ain't my father. You over there, unity, brother. He's like, That's what I'm talking. What the Father gave me, right over there. You ain't getting it from them. What you get, who you serving is the devil. You are your father, the devil. Oh yeah, they gotta kill somebody like that. That look, there ain't no nice way to call nobody the devil.
You bring it raw, uncut.
What that say, Nehemiah? The highlighted portion.
And certain of the elders and scribes from the temple came unto him, saying, why do thy disciples, which didn't include Paul,
which did not include Paul. Paul wasn't around. Why do your students or disciples, go ahead,
teach men that it is unlawful to eat flesh of beasts, though they be offered in sacrifice as by Moses ordained?
Do y'all hear this?
There it is. That's so much different.
There it is. You hear this? You and your students, why do y'all teach it's unlawful to eat the flesh of beasts, though they be offered in sacrifice as by Moses ordained?
So all those beasts that you eat, whether you like it, when we read the other paper, are offered as sacrifice. You gotta ask them which God is getting.
Exactly. Now trip off this.
That's the meat.
They're asking him about the flesh that's offered according to what it say in Leviticus, the Torah.
The lawful meat.
You niggas ain't even eating that. Y'all not eating that. Y'all not eating the flesh offered in sacrifice ordained by Moses. Because if it was, how would it be processed?
7 and 17.
Leviticus chapter 7, 11 through 18. Leviticus 17, 1 through 8 will be being kept. And Mashiach still was saying what y'all eating is still unlawful. Good night.
What it is, it shows you that all things that you eat are
it's a sacrifice. Yeah.
A sacrifice.
Yeah, it's offered to somebody.
Is, what God?
What God?
It ain't your, it ain't why.
It's not the Most High? No.
No, there's no offer. There's never been a food offering he wanted.
Yeah. We just play. Look,
No,
when we bring
you
that,
you own it. But
yeah.
let me say,
but look,
why do your men teach that it's unlawful to eat flesh written in
the flesh of beast
and Deuteronomy 14 of the beast, though they were offered in sacrifice according to Leviticus 17 and Leviticus 7, as Moses ordained. See how I did? That's everywhere you can go to justify your meat.
Yeah.
I'll read it again.
Yeah.
Why do your disciples teach men that it is unlawful to eat flesh in Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14 of the beast, though they were offered in sacrifice according to Leviticus 7 and Leviticus 17 by Moses as he ordained?
Look, the crazy part is the flesh that these niggas eating today ain't even offered. The flesh they eating is offered to devils, idols. You mean tell me Mashiach? You mean tell me Mashiach, even though it was offered according to that, it's still unlawful.
And back then, that was actually doing it the way it should be done. So you can't say the temple ain't there, we ain't got the priesthood.
Yeah, they had it, and he still called it unlawful. You did?
Even though they were doing it like that.
Yeah, because that's not what the Most High wants. But we go show the men that to show them, look, y'all eating flesh off of the devils. That's what you eat. Now watch this, verse 13. What it say?
For it is written, the Elohim, or the power said to Noah.
Yeah, because the Israelites love to bring up Noah, the cat that was on my post, the character I went to school with. That was on my post. Guess who he brought up? Noah. Oh. Boy, that means this book is alive. Because he brought Noah up. And they bringing up Noah to him. For it is written, the Most High said to Noah, the fear and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the field, and every bird of the earth, and every fish of the sea. Into your hand, they are delivered. Oh, wait. Now watch his response. And let his response be your response, whatever. You feel me? And his response be your response. Now watch this. Let me highlight this so we can get some understanding, Nehemiah. Told you, boy, they're going to hang us off the gateway arch. Gospel of the Holy 12, chapter 51, verse 14. All right, watch this blow on up. What does it say, Nehemiah?
It says, and Yahushua said unto them, ye hypocrites.
So I let that be your response when they bring Noah up. You a hypocrite. Because they're not going to Noah to justify any righteousness. They're going to Noah to justify that flesh in their belly, that blood on their mouth. All right, go ahead, Hebrew.
Ye hypocrites. Well did Isaiah or Isaiah speak of you and your forefathers, saying, this people draw nigh unto me with their mouth and honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. For in vain do they worship, because what you're eating is a form of worship to a God.
It is, it is.
For in vain do they worship me, teaching and believing the teaching for divine doctrines, the commandments of men in my name, but to satisfy their own lust. That tells you that the Levites, without the unction of God, gave you Leviticus 11, Deuteronomy 14.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I see it.
Absolutely. To satisfy their own lust. And
teaching for divine doctrine.
Yep. To satisfy their own lust for divine doctrines. And guess what? Set themselves up as the gatekeepers, boy.
And did it in my name. That makes sense because he told Christ, all these you can have if you follow me. And when Christ responded, he had to go redo what he did back then. Create men to be false.
That's right.
With his name in them.
All right, exactly. Look at this, verse 15. What does it say?
As also the Levite Jeremiah. Bear witness when he said concerning blood and sacrifice.
Blood offerings and sacrifices.
Of course, he would know he was a Levite.
Right. son of Hilkiah, the priest. Jeremiah the prophet was a Levitical priest.
He knows the order.
All right, so if anybody know about what's going on, is him. Now, how powerful the Most High said through him, I ain't speak nor command none of this that's going on. And a brother we had sitting right here in your house who had a problem with what we were saying, Nehemiah said he ain't have an answer for what we brought out.
Yeah. You remember that day, Malaki kept repeating his name over and over and over again.
He said, I don't want. When we turned the camera off, he said he wanted to rap. What you want to rap about? We went to that Jeremiah 7, verse 21, 22. What's your response for that? He said, I ain't gonna lie. I don't even have an answer for that. But remember you said that. Let those words testify against you. You disagree with what we saying, but you can't answer that. As also Jeremiah bear witness. What did he say, Nehemiah?
Concerning blood offerings and sacrifices.
Mm-hmm.
I, Yahweh, your power, commanded none of these things in the day that ye came out of Egypt. We have dispensation.
A certain time, huh? Going into the wilderness, right? The Most High said, I ain't the day you came out of Egypt, Passover. Correct?
I didn't ask for the blood.
I ain't asked for the blood.
So what you did at Passover wasn't even under the function of God.
What you're reading that got done at Passover. Good night, boy. I know it's all uphill to swallow. I understand. But I'm saying, like, you ain't gotta be mad at me and Nehemiah. Be mad at Jeremiah.
The one who hit the art, who God found favor in. I let you deal with God about who he chose.
Man, really be mad at the Most High. Most High just had to speak that through him. Say, look what your daddy and them doing up on that in that tabernacle and up on that Temple Mount. I ain't command none of that. I ain't commanded, nor did I speak it. None of these things in the day that you came out of Egypt, concerning blood offerings and sacrifices, I, the Most High, commanded none of these things in the day that you came out of Egypt. Well, the day you came out of Egypt is Passover, buddy.
Time, date, stamp.
Wasn't that, ain't the Passover sacrifice?
Month of Abib. We got time, date, stamp.
What are we talking about here? But only this I commanded you to do.
Whoa.
But only this.
But only this.
I commanded you to do. Righteousness. Walk in the ancient paths, which ain't blood offerings and sacrifices. Walk in the ancient paths. Do justice. Love mercy. And walk humbly with your power. But you did not hearken to me, who in the beginning gave you all manner of seed and fruit of the trees and seed, having been for the food and the healing of man and beast. And they said, you speak against the Torah. Oh,
bro, that makes sense because even right now they're giving your COVID to animals because they need help. Because what affects you affects them.
COVID need.
And no, that makes sense because there's a covenant with man and animal.
Look at the charge though. They said when he went back to the beginning and said, look, who in the beginning, you don't want to listen to me. In the beginning, the Most High gave you all manner of seed and fruit of the trees and seed, having been for the food and the healing of man and them animals. And they said, who asked him about Noah, we can eat flesh because Moses said it. We can eat flesh because the Most High said this to Noah, correct? You a hypocrite. You just did that to justify your lust. You don't want to listen to me.
Notice he told you again, he was talking to the scribes.
Yeah.
The people who write this stuff. Now.
You don't want to listen to me, right? They said what? You speak against the law. Look, same thing they charge us with today. Y'all speaking against the Torah. Because we against the flesh pots. Verse 17. And he said, this is how Messiah answered. And he said, against Moses, indeed, I do not speak, nor against the Torah, but against them who corrupted his Torah.
So what that means?
We got lying, sin.
That's
right. Bring it out, Nehemiah. Go ahead and bring it out.
If you just got told by Mashiach himself that I ain't got nothing against Moses or against the law, but those who have corrupted. That makes sense why he told you out the gate, even reading this, and in the New Testament, and written again in the Old Testament, that by Jeremiah we mentioned up here, that the lion, pen, and the scribes have power with you scribes.
It's a scribe.
Because you have rewritten what was destroyed in Second Ezra, right? Moses' Torah. You rewritten it and corrupted it. And you did that because which he had permitted by the hardness of your heart. Go to Matthew 19.
He talks about, example divorce because of the hardness of your heart.
Moses allowed y'all to get away with certain stuff. I don't say Moses because originally Moses probably didn't write this.
Exactly.
So let me speak.
That's why he said he don't speak against Moses.
Moses didn't originally write this stuff. What it was is those who scribed it wrote it in error.
That's what he said right here.
Exactly.
And he said against Moses, indeed, I do not speak, nor against the Torah, but against them. You got a collective now, don't we? Against them who corrupted his law, who corrupted his Torah, which he permitted for the hardness of your hearts. But behold, a greater than Moses is here. And they were wrath and took up stones to cast at him. And Yahushua passed through their midst and was hidden from their fire. He did, it is. Bag drop.
Because that's me right there. That's my Matthew 12 right there. Mm-hmm. He that is greater than the temple
is here.
Is here.
You see the teachings of the Messiah. This Messiah. Yeah, that's him talking. What the hell, you got to catch up, man. Like what you ain't know that the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, I just,
And that's why I said, and Jesus passed through.
Yeah, but look, so this proves that what the Messiah and his disciples taught was considered blasphemy
back then.
Because they was gonna kill him and his disciples for what he just said. They were so angry they took up what? They took up stones to kill him. Right then and there, based off what he taught, which was against the slaughtering and the eating of flesh. And they was about to put him down for it. And you see why everybody caught themselves being mad at us today, huh? Oh, we embrace it though, don't we, Nehemiah?
I heard that dude.
Yeah, that goof.
I heard that dude praying, talking about, let me kill him.
That goof troop.
Let me kill him, Lord. Please, let me kill him.
F. Jones say, thank you for this teaching. You answered the question I had when I read the Bible last night. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right. Jay Israel on Facebook says not eating flesh only makes sense. Hallelujah. All right. Andrea Israel says, shalom, everyone. Been listening and learning. All praises to the Most High Yah for the truth being brought forth in this hour that's truly humbled me. Hallelujah. All right. Brother Judah says Noah didn't kill any animal on that ship. Straight up.
Oh, didn't.
All right. All praise and glory now to the Most High. Y'all got any last words, brothers? Any last words? Let's get on the bottom. We right around 2.5. So we all good. We gonna come in. We gonna come and go hard body tomorrow.
You hit the Jubilee 6 tomorrow.
Yeah, hit the Jubilee 6 and everything else. It did, but jump. Stayed up in the scriptures and then just show real quick what's being done. You know what I mean? Nehemiah, you got a psalm we can pray on out too, bro. That Psalm 95 is always a beautiful thing there, but
speaks directly, don't it, bro?
Speaks directly to that wilderness. But no, I think that Hosea 2 though, man.
That was a good piece of meat.
He like that covenant. I'm gonna make a covenant in that day. Well, who covenant you under now?
We're right back to Genesis 6.
Oh, then that was the covenant. It's a covenant with man and beast. And
listen, man. And listen, the predator and prey get back.
Yes.
There's no more death in my holy mountain.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Death came into play because we disobeyed, which rippled through all God's creation because we were the gods of his creation. He appointed Adam in charge of his perfect work on this planet. Then he loved upon Adam and gave Adam a helpmeet so he can complete that work. That's why men have to get back to their divine order of life.
That's right.
And women got to get back in the divine order of wife.
I like
life
that. And wife.
Wife.
Makes sense.
With you and your wife, you create what? More of what?
Life.
When he put them male and female on the ark by two, it's because they create what?
Life.
Milton Mills, y'all. That's the link to Milton Mills. And we looked at for 45 minutes before we started class. Get her done. Yeah, Van. This is Nazarene edition 40 or 41. We talked about the fish situation. Maybe we'll talk about a little bit of that tomorrow as well.
Oh yeah, and let me give you a quick insert.
No, we got it. But look,
leave it alone.
Yeah, leave it alone. But look, them brothers went from being fishers to being fishers of men, and then leaders over communities,
and judges over the world and angels.
Yeah, so that it ain't like they stayed fishermen. All right,
but we used to pee on ourselves. We ain't doing that no more.
Right, but we got the whole fish breakdown to right in the Bible to blow your mind. Like, wow.
Yeah, in the Bible.
I mean, we done went. This is Nazarene edition 40.
We went over that already.
I mean, we'll do it again for the sake of edification. There's not one little problem at all. All right, not one. It's all good. All right, so y'all check out that link right there. We know you sincerely asking. It's all good. But I mean, just the synopsis of it, he took them from being fishers to become fishers of men. You know what I mean? Meaning gaining souls for the kingdom. You understand? And those men went to be leaders over assemblies to eventually being judges over man and angels. You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. Like even after the resurrection. But we'll show you the different resurrection accounts because there's different resurrection accounts in the Gospels. All right. There's different resurrection accounts. All right. So some resurrection accounts got them in Galilee for a 4-day journey on foot, 8-day journey round trip back to Jerusalem. Some got them in Jerusalem. You know what I mean? In Jerusalem, he tell them don't leave Jerusalem until they get the fire of the Holy Spirit. You dig? So you even in that you got conflicting reports. But now we'll get into it tomorrow. It's all good. The most I give us breath. We'll walk through it a little taste. You know what I mean? We'll pull up the maps. We'll show you the Jerusalem ain't Galilee, the Sea of Galilee, and then we'll show some older versions of the gospel. You dig? We'll even go into the stories of the fish and the bread in the desert. You know, going in there too. You know, and slow roll it so our people can get the understanding, man. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. You know what I mean? So I'll praise the glory. Now, Nehemiah, give us a song so we can pray on our brother. Let's get her done. Allah, Lord Yah.
Allah, Yah.
All right.
I'll praise the glory now to the Most High. Right? And I'll praise to the Most High for a speedy healing. Hallelujah. You know, upon my brother Nehemiah. You understand? Upon the households of mind, body, spirits, and hearts of all our brothers and sisters, for all the prayer requests going forth in these hours. You understand? I'll praise the glory down to the Most High. All right.
Chest pain.
Yep. I'll praise.
There's a healing for your soul.
Hallelujah.
And getting back to his ways is a healing for the mind, body, and soul.
Right. I'll praise the glory now to the Most High. Let's get her done.
All right, Psalms 95. With the Most High's permission.
Allah, Lord Yah. Get her done.
Oh, come. Let us sing it to YAH'KI. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. And let us come before his presence with thanksgiving and make a joyful noise to him with songs. For YAH'KI is a great heir, a great king above all Elohim. In his hand are deep places of the earth. The strength of the hills is his also. The sea is his. He made it. And his hands formed the dry land. Oh, come, let us worship and bow down. And let us kneel before YAH'KI. Our Maker. For he is our Elohim. We are the people of his pasture and the sheep of his hand. Today, if you hear his voice. Harden, here we go, harden not your heart, as in the provocation, as in the day of temptation in the wilderness, when your fathers tempted me, proved me, and saw my works. 40 years long was I grieved with this generation, and said, it is a people that do error in their heart or mind, and they have not known my ways. Verse 11. Bring it on. Unto whom I swear in my wrath that they should not enter into my rest. Hallelujah! Selah! Yahoo! Real thing. Hey, you can't make that song up there. Hey, you can't make it up, bro. Bro, you ever. You never knew my ways, so everything you got in 11 and 14 ain't his way, bro.
Man, that's major.
You never knew my ways.
That take a lot of.
You crying around fringes. Israelites wouldn't talk to other Israelites because they ain't got fringes on. Well, you wouldn't even talk to Abraham because Abraham didn't have fringes on. Bro, we've been hoodwinked. Yeah, the culture that you've been given is not the true culture of God. Sorry.
I know it's hard. I know it's hard to swallow.
Because that's why I understand why they came after Messiah. They coming after us. And he was the way, the truth, and the life. Yeah. And everything they asked him about the Bible, he
call men hypocrites. You only doing that because you lust. Look, but you don't want to listen to what went on in the beginning.
Everything there. And the scary part that they say, and I know, I ain't gonna say this is how everybody got to it, but I know this is what we always heard when we dealt with that old mindset. That's how I'm saying like that.
Mm-hmm.
There is a perfect will of God, and then there is a permissive will of God. The perfect will is no flesh. The permissive will is eat flesh. No, that's confusion.
Absolutely.
That's confusion. Right? Now, who we have mercy on? Now, that's him. But you're not going to convince me through wordplay that the perfect will of God ain't good enough, so he got to water down his will to justify your feelings. He ain't never played that role. Man. He ain't never played that role. Because he told you in his word in the last book of the Bible, I changed not. And it's because I changed not that ye, seed of Jacob, won't be consumed.
I changed not.
I changed not, bro.
Okay.
I'm the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. And my ways ain't your ways. Let me tell you all this time, man, I didn't want to remember that. Why you don't believe it? Christ told you ain't never heard his voice. Why you don't believe it? Christ saying, you have not known my Father. Why you don't believe it? Christ tell you, he of your father the devil. Why you don't believe it? Christ told you, you have never heard him. I have seen it set with him. Why you don't believe it? Before Abraham was, I am. Why you don't believe it? They started to kill him that day. You don't even realize the way you're trying to get everybody back to is the very way they got us all kicked out. So if that's the way they got us kicked out, how you think you'll get the kingdom back? In that way. You gotta go higher, bro. A lot of my brothers are in Hebrew Christianity. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, yeah.
Okay, you right.
It's just what it is, man. To level up is earth. You understand? And we love our people enough to tell them the truth, even though they fancy themselves as our enemies. We pray that the Most High have mercy on you. You understand? And that he don't lay it to your charge.
Show.
You understand? You don't lay it to your
I
charge.
talked to a few
And the
brothers.
one thing you don't want to do, stop crapping on your healers. Stop crapping on your healers. Same brothers you've been running around talking about, now you need in a major way. All right, humble down, let that pride go. You need to come holler in. You understand? It'll blow your mind how many people been putting their mouth over this way. Talking, I'm talking about greasy through hatred, going harder, consuming flesh and anger, and now they sick.
Wow.
Let that pride go and come holler at your brothers, man. You understand? Let that pride go and check in. How about that? It's our duty to go ahead and get you together, but look, you gotta let that pride go. All right, so we even pray for our enemies. Pray the Most High don't lay it to their charge, that the Most High have mercy on them. You dig? But in the end, judgment is His. You understand? So when I say shout out to all the haters, y'all jackers and naysayers, we love y'all too. That ain't just a sound bite. You understand? We actually pray for our enemies over here. That the Most High send you peace. You understand? I pray you get what you're looking for. You understand? That He send forth a healing heart and a healing mind into you. You let all that crazy madness go. You understand? And that's what we commanded to pray for them. We gonna pray for them daily. All right. We also pray for the faithful elect daily, that the Most High send forth spirits of healing. You know what I mean? I be loving to hear testimonies of doctors being baffled. You know what I mean? How did that happen? Yeah, because we got saints on deck, touching and agreeing, seeing the outcome and choosing the outcome that we want in power, name, and authority of the mighty Messiah. You understand? So we about here, y'all. All right. Love y'all indeed. And in truth, y'all willing, we right back up tomorrow evening. Then right after that, you know, we just go on this run. Y'all know how we do, man. Strap up
next week, shooting shots again.
Strap up a backup, long with the king.
Long with the king.
Yahoo.
Yahoo.